Defining Duke, an Xbox podcast, is brought to you by, well, you. If you want to learn how to support the show, go to patreon.com/laststandmedia. Salutations, everybody. It is Matty here today, and welcome to episode 251 of Defining Duke, an Xbox podcast. Cog, I like the shirt. I wonder what's on your mind today. How are you doing, my friend?
Feeling good. I'm feeling good.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
Good. I'm feeling good. I mean, I am busy as hell, but it's one of those things where it's like I am so overwhelmed, but everything is kind of a blessing. So I really can't be complaining because I'm like, I know what the alternative could be if I wasn't busy. So that's what's going on with me, man. And we got some family return.
Yeah, familiar face, Ben Smith. How are you, my friend?
What's up, boys? It's great to be back. I like to think I'm just like that weird in-law that pops in every now and then. But you love them, but like you're not used to seeing them either. So I'm happy to be here. Yeah, thanks for having me. And I'm excited to chat.
Of course, yeah. Ben put in this special request a couple of weeks ago, you guys. He wanted to talk a little bit about the game he's known best for, Power Wash Simulator.
It's funny, Matty, because like I not that I've had like a ton of time anyway, but I'm not someone who. So when I was done at LSM, you were like, anytime you want to be on the show, just hit me up. You're on. And like I haven't had anything that I was like super passionate about, but I'm also not the kind of person who would invite myself. But when this game came up, I was like, Matty, I'm in.
Yeah, I have to be more proactive about that because I put it in your hands. I'm like, okay, he knows. But I also get like when I'm in that situation, like I probably would do the same exact thing.
Yeah,
so it's awesome to have you here, though. And very, very excited to talk to you about it because you made that request. And so we've restructured the show lightly for those who are listening. Ben's got a hard out in a couple hours from here. So we just want to make sure we get him in for what he's here for. He's here to tell you about the good word of the Power Wash simulators out there. So, or maybe bad word. I don't know. I know you made a video on it though, Ben, so I haven't seen that yet, but that's also up on your channel. If people want to check that one out. But we'll talk about that. We'll kind of do health as well, write-ins, and then we'll do what we're playing actually to open the show. And maybe the audience likes that. And they want to have that first before the news. I don't know. We'll see. This is where experimenting's fun. We're obviously in we're like Xbox. We're in a very experimental phase. Right?
Figuring things out. Figuring it out.
Yeah, of course. Before we begin, though, just a quick update, an update on an update on an update, right? We've had write-ins about this every week. A lot of you want to know about the future of the Duke. So this is our final update on the future of the Duke because at a certain point, it's, we've talked about it to death and there's nothing for y'all to worry about. So, by the way, you can write on patreon.com/laststandmedia, early ad-free access every Thursday. Otherwise, we'll see you on Sunday on free feeds. Neo JD has the first write in the show. Dukes. Boss man Colin mentioned you both had talks with him about the future of the show going forward. Anything you guys want to share right now? I think it's safe to say most of us just want you two to continue together regardless of what you end up talking about. Thanks, and have a Xbox finally dies so Creepy Cog can come out and play kind of day.
I'm not going Nintendo yet.
Yeah, to twist his arm a little bit more. So yeah, I just want to. We talked just yesterday. Actually, a funny story. I was very late to our meeting. I completely, when you get just absorbed by your work, So I'm like, I had it on my planner, like meet with Colin at 1 p.m. I'm like, all right, cool. And then I had my phone down like it is now on Do Not Disturb, and I'm just like working away, and I send a link into our work server, and I'm like, oh, yo, guys, like Warner Bros is selling off. Like, can you believe this? And Colin's like, hey, Matt, we had a meeting, I was like, oh, fuck, my bad. I was like, yeah, here I come. So we sat down, we talked, and we got a little bit into just like, what we think of the future of Xbox. It was honestly like a mini podcast at a certain point. Like we were just exchanging thoughts on like where we think Xbox is going. Because, obviously, as we've talked about a lot throughout these last few weeks, that affects our show. Basically, in the short and midterm, we know Xbox is going for another generation, it seems like. Certainly, they've been the main provider of news, and, we're all fans. So it'd be stupid to walk away. When we think long term, like, hey, Xbox goes away, or Xbox is not what we knew them for, or it's been such a dramatic departure or shift, we've kind of just left it up in the air. Like, we'll figure it out when we get there, because we don't know what's going to happen 2, 3, 4 years from now. And we still have at least 2 years of a great show to put together into a new generation. I think that's really important for us to be there for the start of the new generation. Unless COG goes, I'm not going. That's always been the rule. So, like, I'm not leaving. We're tied at the hip at this point. So it's not really like if Duke goes, we go. It's really just like, what do we do instead? We talked a bit about, like, Colin was talking about, like, do you want to do a retro show? And I was like, yeah, that'd be a good fit. But like, I'm also like trying to help Colin's business. I'm like, look, dude, I run a retro channel, and I'm like, driving traffic to that's really tough. Like, it's like you kind of have to get blessed by the algorithm. You have to have like the right combination of things going on and people looking things up. Like, it's tough. And based on how Knockback did, I was like, I don't, especially with Colin not included, I'm like, I don't know how that would do. We don't know if a generalist podcast would be great. I think that's kind of what Duke already is. So it's like, are we just changing for the sake of changing? So like, if people are just wondering what the inside baseball is, the Too Long Didn't Read is really like, we're not really doing anything. Like, it's just, we apologize for working the audience up. I'll say that. But, it's just one of those things where like, we have to feel these things out. Since Xbox presumably isn't going anywhere for the near future, we're here to stay. If they do decide to dip, then we'll decide what's happening then. But for now, rest easy. The Dukes are here. Plus Ben, and we're here to soothe you with some nice console talk.
Yeah.
So get
comfortable. I want to say you worked me up a little bit.
Oops.
Because like I have a little more inside track than most people, just because of my relationship with you guys and with Colin, with Dustin, and everybody. Yeah. Like, I hear things usually before they happen, even though I'm not involved. But I opened the doc today and I was like, final update. And then, so even I was like, are you guys done? Like, are you done with the show?
The farewell episode, man. You made it, man. Sign off.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we apologize if anyone got worked up. Cog, I don't know if you have any thoughts you want to share.
Yeah, just briefly. Just a couple of, it was cool because I saw a couple of comments like, yo, please, whatever you guys do, don't change up the show, don't leave. Yeah. And I was just like, all right, this is definitely a sentiment that is out there, right? So definitely get in front of it. But yeah, I have my meeting with Cobra Command as well. And it's kind of the same thing. It's kind of like, look, man, we're just going to continue to do what we do. There were some options talked about, because obviously you want to talk about long-term if things change, right? Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, it's like, we enjoy doing what we do. And like Matty said, that's my tag team partner. We going in, you know what I'm saying? We rocking out. So as of right now, we are assuming that based on the information, there will be another generation. So we at least have that for now. And so you ain't get rid of us just yet. Yeah. So that's pretty much where it's at. So I'm here till the wheels fall off, till Matty says he doesn't want to do it anymore or whatever, or Xbox decides to do something super crazy. Yeah. But other than that, man, I enjoy talking games, and that's what we do. So Duke, I'm here.
Yeah, and a lot of people responded well last week to the structure I did, which was just packing in some PlayStation, Nintendo stuff that were just things we wanted to talk about. So we're going to keep doing that. It's still going to be, obviously Xbox aligned and oriented. We'll open up with a lot of that stuff, but we'll bring everyone else in because Xbox has kind of brought everyone else in. It makes a lot of sense. And a lot of the audience, again, really responded well to that, which was good to see. And so very happy about that. So, we're not going to try to become like sacred and as in like, we're going to dominate news cycles around PlayStation, but why limit ourselves, right? So that's where we're at. We hope it's a more enjoyable listening experience for you. And now, speaking of opening up with Xbox, Cog, we have a new handheld this week.
Yes.
The Xbox Ally. We had Sir Jimmy Champagne on last week to talk about it. And now we have questions about the Ally. I assume you've laid your hands on this. Have you got yours?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Just want to make sure. All right. The write-in comes from Phil, not Phil Spencer.
Oh, Phil Spencer came in?
Phil's sharing some thoughts. He says, Microsoft is a software company. This line is repeated ad nauseum. But what the hell do we even mean by it? They certainly are not a good software company. Windows is an increasingly bloated mess of Trojan horse Microsoft products and user unfriendliness. Matty, your video showing the reaction to the Xbox update on your ROG Ally is 1000% why I don't trust the Xbox PC move. It seems like Microsoft's MO to half-ass a release product and improve it over time rather than actually putting in the hard work out the gate. I guarantee you these kinds of things will plague the next Xbox console. So, Cog, have you had a chance to go hands-on with the Xbox Ally?
Yes, I would put it through all the paces. Shout out to the Laws. We did our review. Well, actually, King, he had the hands-on with it. He had his review unit. And then I actually purchased mine, and that being solved, gave our impressions on last Sunday's ILP. So pretty much the gist of it is like this. if you come from the ROG Ally ecosystem, you're like, wow, they've improved. Like, you're like, wow, like I'm not booting into Windows 11. This is great. You don't see it. You have kind of like an interface for the front end. But what you realize is that there's still enough small issues to add up to be a bit annoying if you're a pure console guy. Because again, remember we talked about, like, if you're as a console user, one of the benefits is like the minute you turn it on, it works. Like you do what you got to do. But the problem with my PC brothers that they don't understand is the minute anything doesn't work, we're angry at your platform. We don't care how powerful it is. We don't care. The minute my cursor doesn't respond, the minute the driver updates, my screen freezes, I get a weird pause, any of that stuff over time it adds up. And you can tell the software, as much as it's improved, there's still little idiosyncrasies, as well as the whole Armory crate versus what Windows, the Xbox Nexus button is handling. Mm-hmm. So as far as the playing of games, though, it is by far the best experience. As far as the control, the ergonomics, like you hold that bad boy, it's like a batarang in your hand. You can hold it with one hand. Like it really feels
factor.
Yeah. Like I thought it was goofy when I first saw it until you hold it, play games with it, and the performance is outstanding. So look, it's still from an OS, from a UI standpoint, it's much improved. You can do about 75% of the things you want to do with the button and directional pad. But every once in a while, you get some weirdness, and you could still tell there's things that are going to come later. So anyone who says, "Yo, bro, like, don't release it until it's finished," from a UI, from an OS, I will not fight you on that. Mm. There's still some things, but it's definitely a market improvement for people who came from the Allies ecosystem. But I did see your video. It got
Don't make it sound like I completely shit on it.
Saw your video, it went viral. But look, in fairness to you, you've always
shout out to Laura Fryer.
Shout out to Laura Fryer. Yeah, she definitely understood your point. Now here's where I got to give you. I got to give you a props, because that was always my issue with the initial ROG Ally. Like, I shouldn't have 3 resources to get updates. You know what I'm saying? It shouldn't be like
centralize it.
Armory crate update, Windows Store update. Like, no, like all of that should be consolidated. And that's, again, pain points from people, especially if you market this is an Xbox and you market it, this is like playing a console. These are the things people are going to call you out on. So yeah, they still got a little bit more to go. And Matty is frozen in the ether.
He's just a little work. He's working on the video. Yeah,
he's tearing up. Hopefully we didn't lose him. We had to pause the recording, because normally when this happens, his camera free, but we can still hear him. So now we.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So now I'm a little concerned. Maybe. We lost. Yeah, we lost him. So
I'll just mention while Matty's gone, maybe he'll join back in and it'll still work. But the thing that's most interesting, like, I don't have a need for another handheld. Like, I've already got multiple handhelds. I've also got, my consoles, and I mostly play on PC. But like the thing I've appreciated about the new version of the ROG Ally is just how many developers are making their games compatible with it, which also then they're like, oh, this could be Steam Deck compatible now. So like, I'm just getting all these updates of all these games that I know are optimizing for the ROG coming to Steam Deck and just making my experience better. So like, it's kind of one of those, rising tide raises all boats kind of thing. Like,
yes,
I think it's only good for the handheld market, regardless of how this particular device is.
Right.
It's got that Xbox backing, and that's definitely like bringing up the market for everything else.
Yeah. So, I can't argue with anyone who is upset about having to get their updates from 3 different resources. I get it. All that stuff should be consolidated on the OS. If I press the Xbox button, either Xbox needs to handle it or Asus needs to handle it. And I think right now there's too hands off, and there's too many, chefs in the kitchen, so to speak. And again, if we want to make this console experience, if we want to say this is an Xbox, everything has to be centralized. So yeah, I can't get mad at anyone going in on that stuff. And look, to the comment, this is, you could see that this is a transitionary period of what they're trying to do with integrating stuff. But again, people are going to say, if I'm spending $1,000 on a device, I would like to feel like it's not a pre-beta thing. And, even though a lot of functionality is there, it's fair criticism on that part. So yeah, that's where I'm at with it.
Yeah. Ben, did you pick one up at all or look into it at all?
No, I was talking to Cog while we had the little technical snafu and saying that like I have enough handhelds. I have, consoles. I have my PC, which is where I mostly play anyway. So I don't really have a need for another handheld device, even though I like shiny things. But I was saying the thing I am appreciating about it is that that rising tide raises all ships kind of thing where, Xbox is pushing this, so developers are making their games compatible with it. And then they're like, actually, it's also now great for Steam Deck. So there's just tons of Steam Deck updates coming out for these games that are optimized for the ROG that are coming to the device I use. And it's great for me because now I can, use those same enhancements and everything for the stuff I'm doing. So it's really helping developers, I think, overall. Like I don't have any real impressions on the ROG by any means because I don't have one, but if it helps the ecosystem in general, like I think that's great.
Right on. Yeah, I've been using it a little bit. The most recent one I did was playing the Outer Worlds 2 on it, which I have to say ran really well. Okay. That was an awesome experience. I played that in the car on the way to Philly for cousin's wedding. It was a good time. But yeah, that was one of the good flight tests for it. Otherwise, I played Cyberpunk on it, which didn't really run as well as I thought it would have. Really? Yeah. I think I need to get specific settings for that one.
The tweaking and twerking still got to go down.
Yeah, that one was not out of the box friendly. And I messed around with a few others. Oblivion Remastered, once you like really tuned it down, you got a pretty relatively stable 30, but it would fall into the 20s relatively easily as well. I tested Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2 on it as well. That actually ran pretty well. So little hit or miss, but I tried to just test the most current things I had on there, or the games that had historically bad performance and just see how they did. And so overall from that end, pretty solid. The form factor, like Cog mentioned, really good. But a lot of my critique really lied in what Cog laid out about the kind of unified Windows and Xbox team, because that is the future of Xbox. Like we'll get into comments from Sarabon that more and more it's clear that this is the future. And so the Ally is no doubt a guinea pig project. Like, let's see how people react to these things and what we should change and whatnot before this next generation. And I don't think this is a complete indication of everything next gen will be, but Windows is going to be a part of that next generation console. And if it is, it needs to be way out of the way of compared to what we have here. Like Cog mentioned, this sort of 3 homes for updates, I thought was just really unacceptable. It was partially expected, but it was such a big complaint with the initial Ally and such a big focus with this new version of Windows that I went, certainly it's got to be more out of the way. But I don't know how you felt about the setup process, Cog, but it was like an hour and a half before I could
take a minute. Yeah, before you get it.
Yeah, it was a while. And I mean, the download times and everything were like quick. Like, it's just a long setup. And I think long term, eventually that matters less when you just, okay, this is set up. I'm just going to pick up and play now. That initial setup really takes you out of it. And when I'm getting jump scared by like, as people saw in my video, like I clicked the Xbox app to update it. I clicked the single update button. And here comes everything from my calculator to my clock being updated. And my genuine reaction was like, what the fuck is this? I was like, I was not doing that for the camera. Like I was just, because I was just recording with my iPhone. So I was just like, messing around with it. And I was like, what the fuck? I was like, I don't know how this is all even here in the first place. I don't know if this is the type of stuff I can't act like I'm technically knowledgeable enough to be like, yeah, this is all impacting my performance. It's the fact that it's there. And I think the solution's easy. If you're selling this to people, it's like, this is a PC as well, and you want to use it as a PC, I think that's totally fine. I think, though, that Xbox needs to take a note from another partnership they did earlier in this generation with the Logitech G Cloud, which I guess I continue to be a spokesperson for that handheld. But I really view that as the true Xbox ally, because it does everything that I think this does for a lot cheaper outside of letting you install your games, which is important. I'll get into that in a second. But that device out of the box has 2 modes. One is like your standard kind of Android default mode. Like, okay, you want to use this tablet for whatever else, go ahead. But there's a gamer profile. And when you do that, it has like these pre-installed apps. Like, here's your Xbox app, your Steam app, like all of it's front loaded. It's right here in front of you. There's no messing around with like other Android shit. There's no sign-ins or anything like that. It's just like, here's the device. Here are the apps you need. Go play your video games. I think Xbox really needs that for the Ally. And especially because of the way this new Windows approach, it does feel buggy, dude. Like, it's, like I set up a pin to get into my device, just, I don't know, force a habit, I guess, but a little lock code to get in. And that alone is glitchy. Like I'll click right on like the enter your pin here, and like the text box won't pop up until I click like forgot your pin, and then it recycles and then it works. I saw Dan Reichert had a similar issue, and I was just like, okay, so this isn't just me. This is an issue with a couple other people I'm seeing online. So it just feels not fully ready, and I'd be more willing to understand if like the price tag wasn't so high. Sarabon definitely pushed that on to someone else, as we'll talk about. But for me, I did not have high expectations. I want to be clear and honest. Like, obviously I said on the show multiple times going in, like I would not touch this thing anyway, unless it was gifted to me. So I'm thankful Xbox sent it to me. But just as a glimpse into Xbox's future, this needs to be polished a lot more. And if it's going to be a handheld option, I mean, Xbox is doing their own handheld in the future. If you're going to have like Windows on that handheld, you need a gamer profile that I click that, and I don't see it. And if I do see it, like Cog mentioned, unify it even a little bit, so that there is this app that handles it all. It just doesn't feel like it's fully there yet. And it kind of explains some of the fear and the reactivity we read about behind the scenes when you saw how like, oh, SteamOS, like, geez, I mean, let's be real, man. Like you fire up the Steam Deck, that thing is like gamer ready. And it's ready. Price efficient. There's a lot of reasons to love it. And I think there's a lot of reasons to love this Xbox Ally X. I just think ultimately, as a sort of 2 years out, looking ahead, I'll be paying close attention to how they update this thing, because it should indicate sort of where they're headed and what they're prioritizing. And it has nothing to do with how it plays games and everything to do with just like my experience around the games.
Yeah. And with the Steam Deck, it'd be great if the Ally was like the Steam Deck in some sense, where it's like you boot it up and it's there for you to play games. But if you want to, you can go into desktop mode. You can change everything about your settings. You can get really into the nitty gritty. So it sounds like it's just a UI formatting thing that really needs to be refined.
Did you find it controller friendly, Cog? Because like I had some issues sifting around some of the menus. I like the app swapping. It looked good. It ran well. I was going from Steam to Xbox app, no problem. But I did find that sometimes like I would click my analog stick down, it would just like not do anything until I clicked the screen and then moved it down. So that's another Windows thing where it's like you really didn't technically select that window that you're on right now. So did you have any issues with that as well?
Some. I think my pro tip that really helped me is the Xbox Nexus button, because what'll happen is anytime there's any foolishness, either I would hold it down and then it acts like a task manager, and then you could go between and you can say, okay, close this, or hey, I'm going to select this particular app if I'm going between apps. But to your point, there were a few, like say if I opened up Armory Crate or something like that, there were times where I'm like, why am I not getting any response from the directional pad on a specific menu? Like, why do I have to touch it right now, touch the screen right now to get a response like that? And I think that still is an issue because, again, certain apps, it works fine, directional pad, almost 80% of the way through, but you'll still have that weird quirk here and there. So my pro tips are two things. One, for your issue, highly recommend using the fingerprint scanner for your login. I never put that code in for the Windows stuff. Yeah. Set up the fingerprint scanner. It takes a couple of seconds, but it is a godsend. Just tap, put your finger over it, and you're in. Second, highly advised, because I'm with you. The fact that Windows updates it shouldn't even be visible. I recommend just do all your updates through Aubrey Crate. Go to the Aubrey Crate app, hit the update center. That's going to have all those Windows updates, including all the stuff specific for the device and ROG Ally software. And it's way better, in my opinion. So that would be advice number two. And then the third thing is, you know how you got your Xbox button and then you have the Armory Crate button up like to the above it, right? Up like the upper left. That button, what I would highly figure it, when you press it, it'll say the control mode. It'll say like it's in gamepad mode or it's in desktop mode. Anytime you have a situation where you're like, damn, the directions pad's not working, what's going on? Like, I can't move. You hit the Aubrey Crate button, change that to desktop mode, and you'll see a little cursor. You can move with the airline. I'm like, yes, thank God, I'm not stuck. You know what I'm saying? Kind of thing. But again, like you said, it's still, those are the growing pains where it still feel a little beta-like, right? And that's the thing they have to fix. Now, they did say they're going to have a lot of updates. They did say this is a transitionary point. But anyone who says, hey, I'm a little concerned if this is going to be the future, I think that's fair criticism to give them that smoke on that.
Yeah, I think my general takeaway, to be frank, apologies for my dogs in the background, is simply like, I'd love to hear from people who actually paid for this thing. I got it for free, and I'm going to be totally honest about that. And but beyond you, Cog, sorry. I'd love to hear from people who paid for it in the community and how they feel about it. Because for me, like, I got it for free, and even I was like, this is kind of disappointing. And so I'd be interested to see what the kind of community consensus is, because I do feel like there's a level of like, the Rogue Ally was not perfect out of the box, and you kind of knew what you were getting. You were paying for like better performance, but I think we're kind of cycling back to this, depending on what the reception is. I feel like we're cycling back to this, like, performance kind of doesn't matter to a lot of people, and it's more about the experience and ease of access of your games. Like, one thing that I thought was a little strange with this device is it didn't automatically migrate like what was in my Microsoft store into the Xbox app. Yeah, I asked Jimmy about it because I thought I did something wrong. Like, I signed in a correct store account, and I went into my Microsoft store downloads, and I'm like, there's Ninja Gaiden 4, Outer Worlds 2, there's this, that, like all the games I bought, I owned, etc. Were all right there. And I was like, okay, so I can access them, and you install them as like desktop apps, and then they appear in the Xbox app. But I would love to see an integrated sort of like, would you like to install this? Kind of like your library in on the actual Xbox console, where it's like, you own all these games. Do you want to install any of them? I didn't see any of that. I mean, Cog, maybe you can steer me on that if you've had a similar thing.
It's there, but it's with a sub menu. So basically, you hit the library button in the upper top right? That'll take you to the Xbox store. So then from there, again, but to your point, you go to the Xbox store, it'll show home, it'll show, hey, what's available on Game Pass. But when you hit the library, you actually have to hit, and it's two options that I highly recommend. One that says owned. And then if you hit owned, it'll show everything on Xbox that you own, that play anywhere, that can be installed on the device, or Game Pass, whatever that you have rights to. Yeah. And that's where it will be. And then the other thing that I use is installed, right? What's actually on my device. So there's these two tabs you could highlight within the library button that is there. But in my opinion, that should be more front and center. Now, I get it. They have a library button for you to press to do it. Cool. But I see your point, because the initial store that pops up, it doesn't show you that. It's more of a advertisement of everything else that's going on the storefront.
You're talking about when you click the library tab on the left, and then it opens up that like bunch of tiles. There's like a little line of like, oh, see, that's weird, because I did click owned, and that didn't show my stuff. It showed the Microsoft Solitaire, whatever it was, that comes pre-installed the Windows. But it wasn't until I put like, Outer Worlds on my device or whatever, or Ninja Gaiden, that then it was like, okay, here you go. Yeah. And so that I thought I was doing something wrong, but maybe, again, it could have been a bug. That's what it sounds like to me.
It's a sub-tab. Maybe I've got the verbiage wrong. Along that line, there is one of those tabs that allow you to see everything that is kind of like part of your ecosystem, so to speak. It's similar, but it's not highlighted by default. I remember having to like press it.
Right on. I'm going to try this thing live in the meantime. But yeah, overall, like, cool device, like great form factor and everything like that. I love how I'm saying in real time, like, I'm going to do this live, and like this thing is like, I'm pressing the power button and the screen's not even turning on. So like I said, yeah, it's this shit's very buggy in my opinion. And so I will be keen to see what they do with the updates. But if you're someone who's looking for a PC handheld of some kind, be like Ben. That's my take. All right. Well, while I wait for this thing to boot up, let's move on to our next little question here. This comes from Chris H. He writes, "Hello, Defiant Dukes. I know we all have our feelings about the price hikes for Game Pass, but how are we feeling about the weird pacing of game releases on the service? In a span of a week, we're going to be getting Keeper, Ninja Gaiden 4, and The Outer Worlds 2 after what feels like a few months of inactivity. Wouldn't it behoove Xbox and Microsoft Gaming to pace out these releases, especially when it comes to the titles they have direct control over, like Keeper and The Outer Worlds 2 in this case? While this is great for people looking to do the $30 and dip strategy, surely these pump and dump game releases can only serve to push people away from staying subscribed and more towards buying singular months and leaving. Have a this can't be all Double Fine has been working on, right? Kind of day." Cog, what do you think of this? Because like it's funny where we're at right now. Remember our show years ago? Like, where are the games?
Where are the games?
Now it's like, damn, we got too much in a single week. So I kind of look at this, and no offense to Chris, of course, but I just look at this, I'm like, I'm eating. I'm good. But what about you?
I mean, I understand his point. I guess for me, it's more the one that I resonate with the most is Keeper, because I just felt like Keeper didn't get any good marketing, got buried, and I felt like Double Fine deserved better than that. Regardless to, again, I didn't even get a chance to play the game because I forgot. I was just like, oh yeah, it's coming out. But it's sandwiched in between these like two major releases. And again, I understand like you got a plethora of games now. Sometimes things will come together in a clump, so to speak. But I didn't like the way they handled the actual marketing of that game. To me, it was a disservice. I didn't even know. Remember, I told you when we were talking about, I think we had Jimmy or someone on, and I was like, I don't even know what the game's about. And that's pretty sad. Like out of the initial reveal, right? And I'm like, okay, it seems like a lighthouse. Oh, there you go. You're there. You're there.
Booted to this.
You got the BIOS?
Yeah.
What's going on? What are you doing to your device?
Bro.
Save
and exit.
That's amazing.
I'll put you to a training course. What did you do?
Live, bro.
He said live. Oh my god, that's hilarious.
Sorry.
Yeah. So other than that, like I was just like, man, it's a shame I don't know what this game is about. There's no usually there's like a little, a couple of videos or someone explaining what the core gameplay is. I didn't even see I don't recall like an Xbox Wire article explaining it. Like it was just like, hey, it's coming, and I'm like. Mm-hmm. Like a week out, and I was just like, damn, I just felt like that wasn't fair to that team.
Yeah,
but
I agree.
Yeah, that's just me.
I agree. What about you, Ben? How are we feeling about the pace of these Xbox releases? A lot together at once. You've been around launching games. Are you sympathizing for Team Xbox with just how much is coming out? What are we thinking?
Yeah, I think so. I think that on one hand, I really agree with Chris here that like it's weird how they're pacing their own games. We saw that a few years ago with, when Halo and Forza came out like back to back, and they even moved the release of Halo up a little bit just to like get it out, and it crowded Forza, and we're probably going to continue to see that kind of stuff. So I'm a little confused on that. Mm-hmm. But I'd say as far as like an overall service, right? The Xbox Game Pass is a subscription service. They want you to stick around forever, not just for the big releases. Of course, the big releases get you in the door. Hopefully you stick around for the other stuff that they have. There is new stuff on Game Pass every single week. It may not be the thing you want to play. It may not be the thing that's most in the news. It may not be, direct first party. But as a service, they're constantly adding stuff. And if you don't believe it, just go look at the Game Pass Twitter account. Mm-hmm. They're constantly tweeting out like this week's editions. And sometimes there's like 4 or 5. Sometimes there's 8 or 10. On the essentially the publisher arm, I'm constantly looking at what is coming out, what's out there. Game Pass is a resource I look at to see like what is making waves, what's getting deals, that kind of thing. And like there's just constantly stuff. Again, quality may vary, interest and demand may vary for it, but I think as far as a service, like they're still pumping stuff out constantly. But it is a little bewildering why you would put out 2 first-party releases within a week of each other. And honestly, even though the Outer Wilds is like the Outer Worlds is a known quantity, even that I feel like the marketing is lacking for it. And yeah, let's not even get started on Keeper. It's just a little weird that I am. All 3 of us are very entwined in this ecosystem, and it's like Who made it? What is it? Is this a random indie game? So it's a little weird, I would agree, but I would disagree with the idea that there's not stuff the rest of the time. It's just not big budget Super Bowl commercial stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's fairly put. Quick Xbox Ally update. I found out what the problem was, by the way.
What's the problem? What's going on?
So if you have, this is my library, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is checked with owned. Cog is correct. Mm-hmm. If you check installed and owned, suddenly now that's what I'm seeing.
Gotcha.
So now I see what the problem was. So I don't know if you call that a bug or whatever, but problem solved. Thank
nice. Yeah, I'm gonna give you some pro tips, man. I'm gonna give you some pro tips. And then what you got to do too is, I got to shout out this little website that I found. It's been a lifesaver, man. I think it's called ROG Ally.
Oh yeah,
Life.
you showed me that. Yeah. They got the custom profiles. You gave me the Death Stranding profile. That was the truth,
bro. Yeah. He's got for all you anti-tweakers and twerkers who don't want to do any of that stuff, bro. As soon as you open up, he tells you what to put. Put it on FSR3. Put the details, shadows on low. Yep. Your performance will be rigging. And then what I do is I have opened up Armory Crate, and then you have the monitor. I put it in the upper left-hand corner, so I always see what the frame rate is, right? Yeah. I'm like, all right, cool. And sometimes just throwing on frame generation, I'm like, damn, 80 frames, 90 frames. Yeah. I'm like, oh,
you like seeing the vitals of your patient, don't you?
Yeah, I got to see what he's doing. If I'm going to be tweaking and twerking, I got to see how you're moving. You know what I mean? So, yeah, man, that site has been a godsend. I've literally optimized every single game that I play. You do it that one time, and then you're good to go. And then what's funny is you start to get more knowledgeable as you go on. Okay, you see FSR3, you throw that on. You see from Shade Generation, you throw that on, that kind of thing. And it starts to come second nature. The last thing I'll say is...
Sounds like you're playing a PC, Cog. I don't know.
Sounds like I'm playing PC gaming. One thing I will say, though, to Maddie's point, like, you know, when it comes to all the extraneous stuff and UI stuff that can be overwhelming, all that's fair. But it's like, once you can get through that and you actually could play a game, it is the most amazing experience. Like, it's just getting to it, right? Mm. Once you get to it, you're like, man, this is beautiful. So yeah, I got y'all more pro tips covered.
Cog will carry this. Will carry this ally generation.
Yeah, I didn't remember. It was way worse. What I dealt with the ally when it first dropped. Oh God! Like, there's so many things. I'm like, yes, I can use a D-pad for something. Like, I'm excited. You know? But again, no excuse. But we got to get there. We got to get them there. And I'll be giving feedback.
All right. We'll rely on Cog. In the meanwhile, let's talk about some positive stuff, gentlemen. We have a question here from Errant Rob. He writes, Dukes, I'll keep it simple. What's the most meaningful title of this generation from Xbox Studios so far? What will we look back on this generation and say it was the most positive experience that was provided? I won't stop gaming on every console, even when Microsoft leaves the space kind of thing. That's going out with the ship on a whole different level. Yeah. So, gentlemen, let's reflect positively for once. Best experience so far you've had this generation with an Xbox Studios game. And let's start with you. Comes to mind.
This sucks to say, but it's hard for me to pin one, and not because there are so many, but because there are so few. I think for me, and I'm not trying to be a hater, it's just the truth. Like, there have been a lot of decent games, but most of them have been sequels or further. I think that Grounded, although that was on Xbox One, was that on this generation? Yeah, that came out in like 2022, I think. Yep, Grounded was really cool because it was one of the first big like early access games that were on PC or on console. I think that was really important for the idea. Now, I know some people hate early access games, and sometimes I'm with them. But I think that having that kind of like become a little bit more standard and understanding it, and Grounded ended up being a phenomenal game, and seeing how that went was a really good step forward for the industry as a whole, because I think it was a good example of something that normally has a bad, or not normally, but oftentimes has a bad connotation. I think as far as like the first party game that I've enjoyed the most, it had to be Forza 5. It was a phenomenal, Forza Horizon 5. It was a phenomenal game, great experience. The way that they rolled that out, and again, a thing that many people will see as negative, but I think is a good way to do it for the industry, is they managed to monetize the extras on that game in a way that did not feel offensive necessarily to me as a player. Now, I didn't buy them, but I know that people who did, there were a lot of them, found it to be really great, the way that they could get it with Game Pass, and then they could also buy the add-on as well. But Forza Horizon 5 has probably been my favorite first-party game of the generation. Grounded, I think, was a good example of something that hasn't traditionally existed on consoles and did it very well without really screwing over a lot of people, like a lot of early access games can do on PC and Steam. You got to be really careful with it, with what you buy. So I think that as far as impactful, those are the ones that ring out to me.
Cog, what about you? Positive impact. Best game this gen from Xbox Studios so far. What do we think?
I'm not surprised. Despite my shirt, I'm actually going to go with Indiana Jones for me.
Oh man.
Yeah. I'm not an Indiana Jones guy. And I remember the decision to go, first person. And I was just like, all right, I don't know. We're going to see. But it was something about doing puzzle mechanics in that perspective. It was something about that glow up. Remember, I've always wanted that high fidelity look. And I felt Machine Games nailed it. And then when they had enough third person, when you see Indy, and it felt good. I was just like, and I'm not even a huge Indiana Jones fan, but I love that series. I couldn't wait to go back to the new DLC. Was it the Order of the Giants and stuff like that? Mm-hmm. Everything about that game was just high quality. And it had Todd's love and appreciation for the franchise. Like, I was blown away with how much. I didn't think I was going to love it like that, but I will say when I first saw it, remember I told you, I was like, yo, that looks special. Yeah. And I think it took away from my pride. Remember, the hype coming in was, yo, Hellblade's come, Hellblade, remember?
Yeah.
It was. I was like, I think that's the MVP of the year, and I was right. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Indiana Jones, man. I really, really enjoyed that one.
Yeah, it's awesome game.
Yeah,
that's up there for me as well. I that might be my pick. I don't.
What you got? Yeah. What did you have before? What were you thinking of before?
Honestly, there's a lot for me. That's the thing. That's why this made it for such a frustrating generation for Xbox. I'm like, when you break it down, I'm like, there's a lot of things I love from them this gen. Psychonauts 2 was definitely biggest surprise. Like that one comes to mind. That was an excellent game. Halo Infinite's launch was a ton of fun. I know the post launch was not great, but that feeling of like the multiplayer being there and it's like, oh, they did it. That was an amazing experience. Indy's up there. I don't want to get I don't want to get too ahead of myself. Outer Worlds 2 might be up there.
I wanted to say it, but I was like, let me save it.
I gotta save the bar on that one. I was gonna say the bar. Might be it for me because it is delivering on something that, as I'll talk about, Starfield really didn't hit for me, but this has absolutely done for me. So that might be up there. And then I really will always remember Hi-Fi Rush. That was the moment I felt Xbox got it. I was like, oh, this is old Xbox. Like this is the surprise factor. I associate Xbox with weird, like, you know, when as Cog always breaks down, like that transition from Sega to Xbox and like a lot of their leadership entering that building and kind of carrying the torch and the weird games we got to start off Xbox. Like I miss those days. And when Hi-Fi Rush showed up, I'm like, this is a horror studio doing something so vibrant and fun. And I thought when they did that, like I always remember my brain going like, oh, this is like a 2-hour game. It was like a 10-hour full action game. I'm like, they just dropped this today. Like, that's where I was like, oh, they've got something. Like this is going to be special. Obviously, we know how things went after, which is definitely put a damper on it a little bit, which makes it tough. But if I'm talking unanimous, like top to bottom, they did it. Probably indie as well for me. But like Hi-Fi Rush is right there, and Outer Worlds 2. I mean, that's right there too. Yeah, man, I'm very. It's been a good generation of quality games from them, in my opinion. Very different experiences. So I have a lot of good things to say about their video games. That's for sure.
And I want to give an honorable mention to Grounded. I want to give an honor because I came in hating. I was like, Obsidian, what the hell are you doing? You're messing up your streak. You are out there, undefeated on the platform. You had no misses. Why are we doing Honey, I Shrunk the Kids? What are we doing? Yeah. And I remember playing and I was like, damn, this is fun. And I don't even like survival games. I'm like, damn. Yeah, so honorable mention to Grounded, man. I really think they got something special. And obviously the second one, a lot of people play it as well. So
yeah.
And not a game, but a meaningful thing that I think Xbox did that has been a positive. And I know some people are going to disagree with us, but I think just being the first major hardware company and publisher to be like, we're going to put our games on other platforms. And whatever the reason for that was, whether it was just because they couldn't make it on their own or whether it's because they wanted to expand more, like what it has done for people being able to play those first party games on other hardware, I think has been really a positive impact for, again, not only players, but for developers too, just to be able to see more return for their work. And if you're a developer, if you're working on a game, there's a very little chance that you're like, I only want people who own an Xbox to be able to play this. Like you want the most amount of people to be able to play your game. And again, it's not a specific game here, but just something the Xbox Studios, Xbox leadership in general has done, putting those games elsewhere, whatever the reason, has been a positive net impact in my opinion. And then for me personally.
Yeah.
Nicely done. Nicely said. All right, gentlemen. Well, in non-traditional fashion here, we're going to get into what we're playing after the write-ins here. Ben, I want to start with you, my friend. The request was made by you. You've got a lot of thoughts on a certain game that's come out recently that allows you to clean things. How does it live up to the Power Wash hype?
Yeah, so as you mentioned earlier, I put out a video, I guess a mini review or a review today. I got about 20 minutes out of it, which for me is a lot because I don't really like to watch long videos or make long videos. And so when I was putting this together, I was like, there's just so much to talk about. And it's crazy because Power Wash Simulator 2 is a game that on its face is just power. It's just the same game. Like there's a lot of opinions that people have. And I myself had it before I played this, that Power Wash Simulator 2 could have just been DLC. And they have done a lot of DLC for Power Wash Simulator.
Right.
But once I really cracked into it, that was not the case. So the first time I ever talked about Power Wash Simulator was like the day it released originally, and I think I was on with Cog, and I think Matty, you were gone. Rand was with me, and both of them were like, I made the bold statement. I'm like, this might be my game of the year, and they were both like, are you crazy?
Yes, I remember that episode. We were like, what?
but it's just lived on, and I just continued to follow that game. And I think the phrase I said at the time was like, it fulfills a particular type of OCD that I didn't know I had, but it fulfills it for sure. And so if you're looking for a game that is just more Power Wash Simulator, Power Wash Simulator 2 is that game. It is just a great creation of it. But what it also does is it's almost the definitive edition. It's the best way to play Power Wash Simulator. There's like 38 new levels in the game. So of course you get those new environments, those new things. And then everything that the game does is just either a slight or a major degree of better. First, you have like enhanced graphics. You have better looking stuff. You have more realistic water physics and visions. Whenever you spray glass, you see the water drip down it in a different way than it could before. You have a lot of different attachments that weren't there before. So attachments, instead of having to like constantly change your attachment, you now have this new attachment for your power washer called an adaptive. I don't know. I'm just going to keep saying the word attachment over and over until it becomes not a word anymore. You have an adaptive attachment that lets you just on the fly expand or contract the scope of your beam. You have different power washers. You used to have 4 power washers in the first game. This game, you have 8 different ones, and each of them have like a different degree of strength and width of spray. I'm talking about this in like such serious technical terms. It's so ridiculous.
I'm here for it.
I love this. I'm here for all this.
So just the actual, procedure of power washing just feels so much better, and it looks better, and it's more satisfying when you're doing it because it almost feels more realistic. Specks of dirt fly in this game when you're washing them off as opposed to just evaporating.
Right.
So just the attention to detail there has been really great to see. And it seems like they've accomplished some technical stuff that maybe they weren't able to or didn't want to accomplish in the first game. There's also a lot of different tools. So in addition to the power washers you also now have a surface cleaner. This is one of those, like, I don't know if you've ever watched, please don't laugh at me. If you've ever watched power washing videos on YouTube and just like watch people, dude, I just said, Matty, I just said,
I love
if you ever watched power washing, people will like go and like, oh, there's this giant flat driveway that I need to power wash, and they'll pull out this big round circular thing and attach it to a bar and just sweep it across. And it kind of reminds you of like the janitor in high school when they were brought out the buffer and they were just going through the hallways and just buffing the floors. It's kind of like that, except it's cleaning it instead of applying wax to it. It's a little janky the way it works. It doesn't always fit into the environment quite right, but it does the job. Like it makes everything go a little bit faster. And it's just another tool in your arsenal. You don't have to use it, but you can. Something as simple as like scaffolding. There was a scaffolding that you could just pick up and move around in the first game. And I never thought twice about it. It was functional. It worked the way it should, but it was just like, here it is. And in this game, the scaffolding has like railings on it because you would constantly fall off the scaffolding and everything. In this game, it's a lot harder to do that. It's got like directional signals on it to tell you which direction it should be facing and where the stairs should go. It has ladders on the outside. So instead of having to, run the whole way up one story, run back the other story, you just can climb up the ladder and get to the top. So it's a lot more functional. You've got a scissor lift. In this game, you're not only cleaning like large structures, but also little nooks and crannies and small objects. So the scissor lift allows you to get like right in there to that perfect height instead of having to use the scaffolding to be able to go to an entirely different level of something. There's so much more. What else is there? Oh, there's a hub. So instead of just like going into the menu and clicking, I want to clean this level, there's a hub now where you can go into. You can still access that menu and never even access the hub at all if you don't want to. But you can also go into your office. Essentially, you've built your business up now.
Okay.
You can go into your office and there's a big, like a map that shows you all the different jobs and you can select from there. You can also go and after you've cleaned every level, you get like a little a figurine that goes on a shelf. And so if you just want to identify it instead of by location, you want to identify it by that's the thing I want to go clean. You can do that after you've completed the level. And so free play, obviously, there's endless amounts of replayability if you really want to re-clean everything, re-power wash everything. In that hub, there's also the ability to buy furniture and decorate your office with it. I don't really know why, but when you buy furniture at full price, apparently, it gets delivered dirty into your loading bay. So then you got to go clean off your furniture before you can place it in the building. Yeah. So, I mean, they really took it to the extreme there. But so that's a cool factor. Once you do place it, like once you're decorating your facility with it, there's nothing really more you do. It's just there. So, that's a little bit lackluster on the end of it for me. It's just like one more object in between every level that you get to clean. And if you're playing a game about power washing, that's probably okay with you, right? Like you're probably okay with just cleaning one more thing. So that's a cool feature that they've added. They have the cats. There's some cats in the game that hang out in the office and in the world when you're power washing. You can pet them, which I know is a very important feature.
You better not be able to power wash the cats.
You cannot power wash the cats. I didn't try, but as far as I know, they're not dirty in a traditional sense. So as far as I know, you cannot power wash the cats. I think just everything about it. Oh, so in addition to having more levels and more stages to go through, some of those levels are, all of the levels are bigger than in the previous game. In the previous game, you'd have like, here's a tricycle, power wash it. And it's like, okay, well, I power washed a tricycle. It took me 90 seconds, and now I'm done with this level. And that's, one whatever percentage of the game. With this game, you have a few smaller things like that, but overall, everything is on a much grander scale. So not only are things on a much grander scale, but there's also stages. So, for instance, one of the, I think this was in the demo that was in Next Fest. You go and you clean this little area on the ground, and you're like, what is this? And then after you clean that, and it's fully 100% clean, it rises up out of the ground, and you realize like it's a toilet, like a I don't know. In Europe, they have them. Here, for some reason, we don't. But like a toilet that's outside that you can go to and use, and it comes up and you clean the rest of it, the building and the outside. There's a stage where you clean part of the decorations, and then once you're done with those, more decorations come out and take their place. You clean those. So there's stages to the levels as well. So it's not just what you see is what you get. You also get a lot more. I didn't get a chance to check it out. There is not only local split screen co-op, but you can also play online with up to 4 players.
Oh, okay.
The one cool thing about that, so it is cross-play between certain platforms. It's not between others. I assume Switch and PS5 aren't compatible with PC platforms and Xbox, but that's a guess. I don't know that for sure. The really cool thing is that like if I'm Cog, if you have the game and I'm hosting the game and you join me, in a lot of games you wouldn't have that progress when you went back to your own game.
Right.
You do. You have that progress that transfers over between players.
They're being generous in that respect.
It also, that central hub I was mentioning earlier, like your office, it also acts as like a meeting spot before missions. So I guess you could put out all that furniture and go goof around if you wanted to, but it wasn't something I got to test out extensively, but it seemed really easy. Like you literally click, you add a person from your friends list, invite them to your game, and you're good to go. Something that seems like it should be fairly simple in all games, but as we know, it's not.
Yeah.
A couple more things. A lot of accessibility, and so there's a lot of accessibility features that were added. But as it turns out, as we all know, accessibility features also are great for just people who want to play the game. So one of the big features they added was the ability to like change when you pressure wash something and you want to see what's still dirty, you can hit a button and it'll highlight what's still dirty.
Oh, the spots, right. Because that was always a pain point sometimes. I'm like, damn, I'm like 95%.
Like, what's that last percentage?
Yeah, you're like, what the hell is that? Yeah.
Well, now you can not only change the color of that highlight. So I made it like lime green at one point and dark blue at another point, just depending on the environment you were in. So it wasn't always blending into the background. You can also make it so that stays lit up a little bit longer. So instead of it just flashing briefly, it can be up to, I think, 5 seconds or something. Yes. In addition to that, there's also the ability, instead of just going into the menu, highlighting what you want to go and find, and it like flashes and you have to try to find it somewhere, it'll also put a little marker on it.
Okay.
So like a little identifier that says like, here it is. And kind of pops up on your screen and shows you where to go. Again, those are things that are like, they're nice for some players who just want that ability. I turned it off a lot of times unless I was really having trouble. But I can understand for sure, especially people with any kind of color blindness or anything like that. It's a huge upgrade from the previous game as well. Man, there's so much more too that's like not sexy bullet points about the game. But overall, like the game is it's still Power Wash Simulator, right? Sure. We didn't reinvent the wheel. We didn't add any new dramatically different mechanics or anything, but like it's the best version of Power Wash Simulator that it could be. They've added so many more things. They made it look better. They've added in new tools. There's I don't even know what it's called, but like a thing you can sit on and navigate up or down, left and right, like you're hanging from a rope, kind of thing, like you're on the side of a building.
Yeah.
Like just little different features and stuff like that allow you to have a better experience overall. And I've powered through it, no pun intended. Powered through it. I finished it, got all the achievements. I might be the first, I don't know this for sure. I might be the first person to 100% this game.
That boy on the leaderboards right now.
The Steam achievements aren't visible. I mean, I can see that I've completed them all, but they're not, you can't see who else has until the game is live. So, but overall, I loved it. It's such a zen, quiet, relaxing game.
Sure.
The sound is amazing, but like after a couple hours, you get tired of hearing a pressure washer. So I just would pop on a podcast and be listening to an audiobook or something while I was playing, just chilling out, just
unwinding,
enjoying my time.
It sounds like they're like a step away from open world power washing. You just kind of step out into a world of dirty shit and you're like, I got to clean all this. Like, I feel like they're a step away. That's Power Wash Simulator 3, no doubt.
Yeah, there are a few areas where like you can explore a little bit further than the thing you're working on. But I know for people like me with severe OCD in certain areas, apparently my OCD is largely centered around Power Wash Simulator. It would be maddening to not have like an order to things and be able to accomplish and complete it. Part of the satisfaction of this game is like seeing the completion bar of the entire project go up. Yeah. So anyway, that's somewhat a joke, but also I'm deadly serious about that.
No, I know you're dead serious about it, because that's when I remember when you recommended it to me and ran, and I was like, all right, begrudgingly, let me find this. There's no excuses in Game Pass. Okay, and I'm like, yo, there is something OCD about seeing the percentage, but for me, it was the sound chime.
Oh man.
That sound, you feel good about life. Yeah, you like you're doing things, you're fixing things, and then I want to give you some credit too, because we were out when I went to Tokyo. Me and Attic had an appointment with them, and they had a huge booth at Tokyo Game Show, and like it took us a while before we could get our session because people were playing so long. I'm like, yo, and mind you, we're the press. It's on a press day, so I'm just like, okay, this is a thing. And I saw that that thing when you sit on, and then Attic was going up and down. We didn't get a chance to do the co-op. I was recording him play. And he was like, nah, they definitely stepped up. They got a lot of new features because he loves the game as well. So I was like, yo, they definitely leveled up here. And I was impressed how much of a community they have. I was like, this is a thing. Yeah. So yeah, he ain't lying. In Japan, it was huge over there. Power Simulator.
I kind of hate the term. I mean, I understand the gameplay, but like I hate the term cozy gaming. Like I like some of the games that are considered cozy game, but like I don't know. I some people don't like the word moist. I don't like the word cozy. But like it is very much that kind of thing where it's like this is kind of a like I'm just gonna chill and vibe. Yes. It's not a high pressure thing.
Yes.
So yeah, the community around the game is really interesting and really cool. The endless replayability of it is awesome. And like I said, it's a step up in basically every way from the previous game. And I think just today, so the game comes out tomorrow. Today they announced like their roadmap. They have I don't remember, let's say it's 6, just to make it up. There's 3 free DLCs that'll come out and 3 paid ones. I'm sure they'll have more after that, like the first year that they've already got planned. Car outside, I don't know. But like with the last one, they did all sorts of brand integrations. And of course, they were working with Square Enix as the publisher. They're not this time.
Okay.
So they had integrations with like, Final Fantasy and stuff like that. But they also did Shrek, and they did Alice in Wonderland and stuff like that just, doesn't make any sense. But
did they do SpongeBob?
They did SpongeBob too. Yeah.
I was gonna say, they did some crazy ones.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see that they were able to get. I assume Square Enix didn't pass on it, but maybe they did. I don't know, but I assume they were able to make enough money from the previous game that they were like, we're just going to do it ourselves.
Yeah.
Right. Good for them.
Right.
Good for them.
Matty, I got one more thing just for you.
Sure.
There is a story.
So we got a narrative?
we got a power washing narrative?
But it sucks.
Oh, no.
Yeah. There's a story in the first game, too. It's not that it sucks. It's that the game isn't about the story, right? Yeah. But there is a slight narrative. It's mostly told through like text messages, the bulletin board. There's a cutscene or two as well. It does not matter to the game at all, just like it didn't in the first one.
But
it's
like telling me like this isn't like, you got into power washing because you went through some tragic shit earlier in your life and like you're coping by like cleaning things. Like they could go hard with it and just have a lot of fun with it. I feel like they should go. Power Wash Simulator 3, man, watch out. Open world, sad dad power wash game.
I know how much you love your narratives and games. So the beautiful thing about this is you can make it whatever you want, Natty.
Role-playing game.
Whatever.
Yeah. Well, Ben, I'm glad it's delivering. Have you been playing anything else outside of power washing things?
Yeah, so I've been playing Battlefield 6 a good bit with the boys. I don't have a lot to say about Battlefield 6 that probably hasn't already been said, except for that, I haven't played a Battlefield game since Bad Company 2. I maybe jumped into Battlefield 3 for just a small amount of time. But one, just coming back to the gameplay and everything has been so refreshing. It's a lot of fun. I was really bad at it until I adjusted some settings, and now I'm doing much better. Still not great, but much better than I was. So I don't have a ton to say about Battlefield 6. It's, if you know Battlefield, you know it. I haven't had a chance to jump into the campaign or anything, which I assume won't be anything to write home about, but that's okay because that's not why you play Battlefield or Call of Duty or any shooter, really. And then the only other thing that I've really been playing with any regularity or recently is Megabonk. I don't know if you guys have chatted about Megabonk.
No, I haven't chatted about it, but I heard about it.
Megabonk is this game that kind of, as far as we know, because there's some theories about who the developer is, it's the studio's first game, so it seems to be solo dev. Game has been made with a lot of like old assets, and basically the developer was like, I want to make a Vampire Survivors game that's 3D. And that's essentially what Megabonk is. The beauty of this game is that like there's so many different metas that you can go into. You can, choose different power-ups and different stats that you can increase as you level up, that it just, the game goes totally crazy. And it's a game about score goes up kind of thing. So that's a ton of fun. And it's one of those games where I'm going to go to bed in like half an hour, but I'm not quite ready to close my eyes, pop on a game of this.
Yeah.
And then 2 hours later, I'm like, oh, I did 4 runs instead of 1. Yep. My bad. So it's, again, it can be just very chill, and you can play it, or you can really get into the nitty gritty, figure out the min max of the build that you're doing and the character that you're playing, and totally wreck shit if you want.
Do you press buttons to attack enemies, or is it just like...
Matty, if I tell you the answer to that, I know you're not going to play it.
Correct.
Matty, I don't want to say I'm a trendsetter, but I was the first person to tell you about Vampire Survivors 2. And then you wouldn't play it. That's true. And then it blew up. I'm not going to say that was my problem because of me. I'm just saying, Matty, you need to listen.
Gotta trust
every
Ben.
now and then.
Gotta trust Ben.
But no, there's no buttons other than selecting like the power up. It's just you're moving around, doing the best build that you can. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Sounds fun. That's what Sir Ben is up to. Cog, you and I have been playing a lot of similar games. Yes. We were on lockdown last week, but we're free to speak now. Margo is up by the time our episode goes out for the Outer Worlds 2. It's been up for Ninja Gaiden 4. Cog, I want to give you the honor of selecting. Which game do we talk about first? Ninja Gaiden or Outer Worlds 2? We have write-ins for both.
I know. Let's go with Outer Worlds 2 first. Okay. Because I actually want to hear from you.
Oh, you want me to lead?
I want to hear from you first because I've been playing, and I'm assuming you have way more hours. I probably have about 15 to 20. You know what I'm saying, kind of thing.
We're in the same pocket. I got 30.
Okay, so you still got a little bit more than me, and I know we had some brief conversations, but I'm very curious of how you feeling, how's it going for you. I need to hear about this.
Okay, so let's start with the write-in. Number one Ada Wong fan writes in. G'day, Dukes. What is your verdict on The Outer Worlds 2? Have they delivered an amazing RPG in spite of awful business decisions and questionable marketing? Or has Obsidian delivered a different kind of black rock, a lump of coal? Thanks, and have a my critically acclaimed game is coming out, but the Xbox marketing team is in charge of promoting it kind of day. I'm sure we can have a full podcast about, this will kind of spoil my opinion, but like how this game was horribly handled in marketing compared to what we got. So right now, where I'm at with The Outer Worlds 2, I'm not done. So I don't want to be overly definitive after 30 hours, only because I think so much of the RPG strength lies in knowing the end states dramatically alter when you make all these choices. But oh boy, are you making a lot of choices. And at least in the short and the midterm, the game reacts to you really well. Like you're always skill checking. So in that short term, like you're doing things that feel unique to you. The game's constantly talking to you like, okay, I can express myself this way or that way. Like it's all about like just figuring it out your way. In the midterm, I'm seeing characters like move into different spots of the world. I'm having conversations pick up from where they left off, where they're like, hey, you blew this up, or hey, you did this, or I can't believe you did it. Like that's happening. I'm waiting for like the end point now where you get to the final, like the finale of the game and like where it all comes together. And it's like a real test of loyalty. Like everything you did came down to this moment right here. So I've yet to see that, but I'm 30 hours in. I've finished 2 planets. I was talking to Addict who just finished the game last night. And it seems like I still got a ways to go because I've been like cleaning house on this game, bro. Every side quest, every task, every location,
that's
everything.
why I'm taking long. Yeah.
Everything I'm doing. And that's because I really love the game. I've been having a lot of fucking fun with The Outer Worlds 2, dude. Like it is, simply put, for a lot of people, bigger and better Outer Worlds 1. But I think as someone who really loved the first game, I'm overjoyed with what I have here. For a lot of people who feel the game came up short in its first entry, I think you'll be happier with this one. It still has the quirkiness and the ridiculousness of the first Outer Worlds, but I think this game has a lot of great stuff going for it. It's a deeper role-playing game. The combat's so much better.
Combat is so good.
It's actually playable. But beyond that, it's not even just like, oh, it's an improvement over like the kind of dismal combat that the first game offered you, but it's actually like challenging. And because it's challenging, you have to build craft smarter. It helps when the build crafting of this game is a complete deconstruction of what New Vegas is. Like everything from how your skills go up every level and they're individualized, unlike Outer Worlds 1 where they were done in groups, to your perks every 2 levels. Like that's New Vegas. I'm not saying it's as good as New Vegas, but that's New Vegas's leveling system. They completely deconstructed that game to build this one. And I think it was very effective for what they were trying to achieve because it just is a much deeper reactive role-playing game. You throw in there, while we were talking about combat, the loot. Dude, it's one of those things where when you're reviewing Starfield, you're like, I'm going crazy. I care about this too much. Then you get to something like this and you're like, I'm not fucking crazy. This shit matters, man. Because now all these weapons I'm finding have these unique mods or they're science weapons and they all look different and they play different. I'm like, there we go. This shit matters because now when I'm build crafting and I'm fighting enemies, and unlike the first game, the second game, it's like, I can't wait to use this and see how effective it is against these otherwise tougher enemies. Like, bro, they did that. So I don't want to oversell it because again, I have to finish it. That's right. Where I will, then I will settle in.
Yeah.
But I'm also in the pocket of like, dude, I know people are not going to want to hear anything I'm saying right now or what Cog's about to say. Just I saw it like the online sentiments like, yeah, this shit's going to suck. And I get it. Like I said on the show weeks ago, I was like, Obsidian's RPGs are fairly on watch after Avowed. But as I said with Avowed, when we had week after week conversations, I said, I will be concerned if The Outer Worlds 2 does not deliver. But I'm not concerned about their RPGs moving forward if this is what we're getting. So that's where I'm at. It is a clean record for me. Avowed, clearly, as was reported, was a troubled project. We don't know the ins and outs of this one, but if this was a troubled project, I don't feel it at all. The towns, like if you think of all the complaints for Avowed, the writing, it's better. The towns, they're not static. Like, you know, it's not as active as I'd like it to be, but like it's definitely better. Like characters are talking, interacting with each other, walking around, doing their work cycles. Like there is a life to this game. It does not feel problematic, but it feels like a proper Obsidian RPG. So I I mean, I have so much I could say about it. I recorded my impressions today for it. My editor's working on it now. That was like a 33-minute recording.
Wow.
So I could go on, but I will keep it brief at that, just to pass it to you, Cog. I want to hear where you're at with the game. I know I was texting you just like every night. I was texting Cog, by the way, everyone, just being like, bro, I'm so happy. I was like, I'm so happy. I was texting Addict about it because he was just like, he was doing the same podcast as me. He's like, dude, he's like, I'm just so, like, when he beat the game, his words were like, they did their shit, man. Like, I'm so happy right now. Yeah. And that's how I feel. I'm like, damn, dude. They like, it's the type of right now, like if they deliver in that finale, I'm going to feel foolish because I'm like, why did I doubt you guys, man? Like, and so don't. I
got to pop off. You going to get this work.
Go ahead. Work me.
I'll go get this. They're going to pause us on that one. But look, no, bro, look, I get it. I get it. You were disappointed in Avowed. I had a different feel of Avowed. Let me get this out the way first, because I know Avowed gets a lot of smoke with the Realm of the Dukes, even though I am probably the lone defender of the game. Mm-hmm. But I will say, I still feel Avowed's world, their biomes are just beautiful. Sure. They look better. And I do feel, as great as the Outer Worlds 2 gunplay is, and it is great. It is great. They did not lie when they took cues from Destiny and properties, and everything has like you get your plasma abilities, your shock abilities, you do things, you set things off like a detonator and a charger, and it looks great. And it really goes into that. But when it comes to that combat and the swordplay, and then obviously I'm a big stealth from behind, get that animation. That's one thing about it. Remember with the God Hand power and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So I want to be clear. There's still things that I still love about Avowed that does a little better than Outer Worlds 2. But if you talk about that pure RPG experience, you want to talk that new Vegas feel that you haven't felt in a long time, where every choice, consequence, but forget about choice and consequence and dialogue. This is what I knew the game had me. You can go across random notes or observations in the world, come back to a character that may randomly give you a side quest, and because you explored some in the corner thing, it will have relevance at some point of the conversation. It'll be like, hey, key information required. You don't have it, or you do have it, and you have that note and you give extra context and open up other dialogue stuff. I'm like, yo, this is special. Yeah. Then when you get to points where it's like, you know how games do with skills and perks, and they're like, luck and, other stuff that you're like, okay, that's cool. But most RPGers won't spec into it because they won't feel an immediate impact. Oh, not Outer Worlds 2. I put luck, I put random things. You will encounter random things that if you don't have them, you won't be able to either interact or find out about something. And it's just the way it's done, it's handled so well. And I didn't even get into the flaws. The game has a sense of how you are playing. It was noticing, okay, you know what? Every time you level up, you're not really min-maxing, Cog. What you're doing is you're putting a skill here, you're putting a skill there. You're not
in your corner. Yeah.
Then it's like, hey, they call it the flaw. I kept doing this after like 5 levels, and then it's like, hey, you're flawed, right? You have the choice to pick. Do you want? I forgot what they call it, like short attention span or whatever it was called, right? And because of that, they was like, do you want to lean into this play style? Mm-hmm. So the flaw was like, every level you go up, you could only level up your lowest levels at the time. So you're constantly being even, like what's that level or lower. Mm-hmm. So I just thought that was so cool. Like little things. If you sneak around a lot, you get a perk called Bad Knees. Now you get 50% more crouch speed. You can do things, your stealth better. But the minute you pop up your knees, everyone kind of hears around you. And it's creaky, right? So I'm like, yo, this is cool. So it just, whatever your place, and again, you don't have to pick these flaws. You can say, hey, nope, I don't want to do it. I want to continue normally.
They make them so much more compelling, though. Like, I actually use them. I actually use them now. I never used them in the first game.
Yes. If you go into a play style, you could really dive in. And then let me not even talk about the build crafting, bro. The build crafting. When it comes down to, again, I went with let me tell you how I did. Like, I went professor for my analytics and stuff like that when I'm talking to people, right? And then I don't come up in certain things really cool, right? And you could give very unique perspective and dialogue choices or dealing with interactions. Then I went heroic. I'm going with a very companion-like build. I'm going with leadership. so that they do more damage.
Space Ranger.
Yeah, so I'm like, go get them. I'm in my Mass Effect bag, and like I'll send this one, that one, and do it's so dope, bro. And like I'm sitting there, and the game really allows me to lean into all these different play styles. Like I said, the combat's improved, the dialogue, the companions. That was my fear. Because me and you both come from Outer Worlds 1. And let's be clear, Pavardi, Vicar Max, these are iconic characters.
It's very top heavy, right? After that,
yeah. So I was like, because remember, in fairness to people who were concerned about the game, a lot of people did not like the companions trailer that they put out, right?
Sure. Yeah.
Now that I got a chance, even the base characters when you start, Niles, Valerie, the machine, there is depth here. And they will respond to things that they don't like based on alignment, and you get the true sense of fear. Oh, you're effing up with this person. It's not, see, that's where they blow Avowed away. Avowed's problem was that you truly...
They would always stick with you. They
would stick with you. Like, they didn't really get pissed off, or you do something, they be mad in the moment, and then they're like, oh yeah, bro, okay, well, I'm going to listen to you now. We're going to go ahead and continue the mission. Like, oh no, at any point, based on the series of things and choices you do, you get the sense with Watch God Horse 2. It is, everyone has their alignments and they are locked in, and they truly pay attention to everything you do. And it's so cool, man.
I just want to add in, just to support what you're saying. I had a point in the game where I pissed off Niles so much, the only way I could keep him in is because my speech was high enough. I convinced him to stay with me. Otherwise, he was out. Yeah. So they threatened to leave multiple times. And I love, just to add on one last thing, is what really got me, where I think the moment I felt my brain go like that, and I felt the hook, was I got off the ship. I'm on Eden. I'm like, wow, okay. I'm excited to explore this. And I turn and I talk to Niles. First dialogue option I see is, Earth Directorate, you're done. Get out of here. You can just tell these companions at any point in the story, you're done. Like, we're not working together. I don't want to see you. I don't want to breathe your air.
Yes.
Get the fuck out. And you can just do that. And that's when I went, oh, that's New Vegas. Again, I was like, oh, New Vegas just lets you be like, you don't want to have a companion? Yeah. Just, sorry, we're done. We're parting ways. Like, it's not go back to the ship. It's like,
it's we're done.
Go back to where you came from. We're done. And I when I saw that, I was like, oh, wow. And so then I wanted, because I knew they could go, I'm like, well, I want to get to know these characters more.
Yes.
And I was, again, very impressed with just that willingness. I'm like, now I want to know what happens if I start off a game and I tell these companions to go. How does this story play out with none of them there when they're so deeply involved in it? So, sorry, please continue. But I just wanted to reinforce what you said, that the game is not like Avowed, where it's not afraid to be like, I'm going, I'm leaving. You can convince them and they'll stay, even though you've done something that pissed them off. But what it does so expertly is its natural growth of the plot. Like, it's not immediately high stakes. Like I think a lot of RPGs try to do. It grows to that point where when the values have been established and you know who they are, and what to Inez, what Auntie's choice means to her, and you kill a bunch of people from Auntie's choice, and she's like, I don't like what you did there. Like, I killed someone for a side quest, and it's so funny, bro. It was so New Vegas. Like, I closed the door, no one can see, silence pistol, shoot this NPC, and right away conversation starts. She's like, hey, we gotta talk. I don't really like what you did there. I was like, whoa, she was right on my ass. Immediate.
And you sense the anger, the emotion. You feel the tension with the companions, unlike any other game. And again, this way it just stops Avowed. You're like, oh, this is what we talk about.
This is what we missed. This is why I said, like, when people, because I think people oversell how I didn't like Avowed. I thought it was not as good, but that's why I told people when I said Avowed came out, I said, before I started to waver a little bit with some of the Outer Worlds marketing, I was like, wait for the Outer Worlds 2, because I said I feel like that'll be the game that can show you like Obsidian proper RPG versus like Recovery Project. And this wasn't a Recovery Project, and that's why I say it's a difference. You can tell. You can tell when something's been saved.
Yes.
They got a game out the door like Avowed, and they did a good enough job, but it definitely wasn't to the high quality that they've set for themselves. This game, though, feels like we know what Outer Worlds is going to be from the start, and there has been no diverting from that path. Sorry, Cog. I took your bars. Please continue.
You're cooking. I love it. I will give y'all this, because as of the time recording, we could talk freely now, right? So, I got some content coming out with Bradley Adler and Matthew Singh, which are the directors of the game. And one of the things that you're going to be very impressed, Matty, is to say, he was like, look, these guys are pretty much Obsidian lifers. They've been 17, 20 plus years with the company all the way up. And they like, we went back to the essence of what we know people love from Obsidian games, that true choice and consequence. And I'm like, yo, I'm getting New Vegas. He was like, yeah. He said, that's what we were going for. And everything, like those moments, you know what I'm saying? Like that. And where it really resonates too is, again, not to make this the, shit on Avowed conversation, but I'm just saying, like, the factions, right? Like, you really leaning into that as well, and seeing those impacts and those choices and those alignments and how that plays it. It's all these different layers of subsystems and stuff like that. And the key that they have nailed is, I think, Ben, you'll appreciate it, is what I consider the old BioWare water cooler moment, right? So you play, man, I play, Matty plays, and we go, wait a minute, so wait, you did that? I didn't even know that was possible, that with this interaction or that outcome kind of thing. This is a game that's going to have multiple playthroughs with multiple paths. It's just like how Mass Effect was, the early stuff, where you like, only a small percentage of gamers may see one outcome, but the fact that they wrote that in and it took that time, it's really appreciated. So I could go on and on. For people who don't like first person bros, you don't like that, bro, we got 2 third-person bros for you. You know what I'm saying? That you can lean on the fly. You just hold down the select button. Yep. You got the dismemberment. You got the gore. I started to lean now into stealth. Stealth's getting better. I'm still mad at them. So one of my stealth animation. But I did lean into a melee build. And now that I unlock some specific skill, I get like a sneak attack button and I do this power thing. And I'm like, okay, this is better. I thought we had none of this. So I was like, okay.
Yeah, so I noticed they tucked some features into the perk system, which I thought was good, by the way. Like pickpocketing is not a default skill.
Is another one.
You have to. I still haven't gotten pickpocketing. Yeah, there's been so many times I'm like, I should really get it, but I'm so cheap with this leveling up system because it's so strict with you that I'm like, I'm in my corner. I gotta respect my corner. Like, I'm an engineer gunslinger. Like, I gotta go in with that. Yeah,
nice. Yeah. Bro, have you ever picked Observant?
No, I've done any observation.
Observant is Lucky and Observant are hilarious because Lucky truly. Sometimes you'll go to a terminal and it's random. That happens all the time, and it's like, might put it'll say, hey, Lucky. Just you put in a whole bunch of random numbers. You just happen to get it this time. And you're unlocked the code. But Observant is cool because sometimes if you're at level and you're in a room, you'll see this indicator. It'll tell you to like go towards something, like almost like a hot potato, and it gets hotter. And then it'll unlock something that'll give you maybe another path, how to enter a facility and stuff like that. But look, all in all, like you said, I'm still early. Probably, the first planet and cleaned out, did every quest on the Paradise Island. And I'm like, I am so enamored and engrossed with the deep RPG systems. And I'm like, man, they got it. I will speak for Attic because he told me, and this is a person, Attic is extremely critical. Like what he loves hard.
Yeah.
And his thing is like, look, I'm telling you right now, he said, probably if it wasn't for Expedition, this would be my goatee. And I'm like, whoa. That, like
it's on that path for me, like top 3 for sure. Like it's on that path.
I just want to land the plane for me, and then I'll make my definitive statement. But I gotta pop off just one thing on you.
On me?
I told you. I said, bro, I said they messed up with the marketing. Matty's right with the marketing. Don't give us no one level. Don't let us not see the skill trees and level up. Matty's 100% right. I told people from the beginning, the demo they let me play. Remember the very first one? I told people, I was like, yo, this game is amazing. I'm like, why ain't y'all let people play this demo when you just go out? And it would have changed the whole conversation. So they have admitted, that, because again, in my interview that you guys will see coming out, check out.
You asked about this. Okay.
Plug.
Yeah.
I did. I said, yo, like the marketing, you had the IGN reveal. What was up with that? They was like, look, we take full ownership. We messed up. We messed up. We did not handle that correctly. And, we just hope now that people get a hands on it and they see what what we were trying to accomplish here. And there's definitely lessons learned from that,
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Yeah,
So I respected it.
It really, playing it, and it provided the playing lands. I feel really bad for them, because I'm just like, dude, it's one thing if it's like, oh, it's good, but like, we're talking about a year where KCD 2 came out, and like, it's a superb RPG, and I don't think this is as choice reactive as that game yet, but the fact that it's very competitive with it is very tough to do, and I admire that a lot. And I just feel bad that it's like, wow, man, I think this is exactly, I mean, take it from someone who was very critical about it. I'm like, I think this is exactly what people wanted. And there's a lot of people who are probably going to skip on it because of trailers. And I get it. Because it is bad messaging. And now you're getting a completely different message from people playing it. You're like, well, it's good now. So I get it. What I'll say to me is the nutshell statement of this game. I'm curious if you agree with this, Cog. As people who really like Starfield, it is what I wanted out of Starfield, though. It is that Mass Effect meets Fallout RPG. It is the quirkiness and the dark humor of Fallout. It is the exploration I love of Fallout, with like the intimacy, the companion-driven stories, the solar system so big that you can see the scope of the game, but not so big that it's endless. Every planet has a step-out moment, and it's full of handcrafted content and interesting quests and characters and funny moments and sad moments and all that stuff. Like, you find that all, but you can finish it, and it's explorable, and you can wander within it, and then you're done and you move on to the next planet. Like, a lot of people who are out there, and this is the most common piece of feedback I read about Starfield, I wish it was just 5 planets that you go to and you get to know them and the people on them well, and you're done. And it was like a 60-hour game or something like that. I have what I think are 2 planets left, and I think it is exactly that. It is 5 dense, deep planets that are very replayable, that give me that Mass Effect meets Fallout vibe. And I mean, that's all I really wanted. It's so funny because there's 2 old videos I was thinking about when I was recording my impressions. I didn't mention this in my video, but there's 2 I was thinking about. One was when Starfield was just a trademark listing. I said in a video that The Outer Worlds already kind of satisfied me. The first one. So it's really funny to be here again with both games out and being like, look at that, right? Yeah. The other was just looking at my Outer Worlds 1 review, kind of looking at what I loved, looking at my retrospectives, what I love, and kind of getting in touch with those things again, and how you recognize the flaws of the Outer Worlds 1 and how much potential was left there that could be realized, and how, like, I think the companions in this game are just as a collective way stronger. There's one in particular, Kai, I won't say their name because I think the way they're introduced is a bit of a surprise, and like I didn't know. It was one of the moments where a game actually got me. Normally you can smell the companion on someone.
That was, I'm able to get you. Yeah.
This one I didn't, though. And the way they're introduced and how cunning and secretive they are, and they're like, let's work together. I'm like, oh shit, you're a companion? I really like that. But I will say that the collective here is stronger. I don't have a Parvati yet, like you're my one.
Yeah.
But I'm invested in all their stories enough, and they all have their values that are strong enough where it's like influencing. Like, again, I got blown up by Niles because I didn't take him on an important mission. He was like, yo, he lit a kid to me. He's like, what the fuck was that?
Hey, yo.
And I was like, damn. So now when I leave my ship, I'm like, who do I take? Because I was like, I know what missions are going to be here. I'm like, who do I take? So they have a stronger impact collectively. They're so far good. The only one I don't like is Azza as much, but like, she's not bad. She's just like she's a little predictable, but that's okay if like most of them are better. So yeah, just looking at it compared to the first game, I think it does deliver on that potential, but it really is that Fallout meets Mass Effect. The radio is great. I just think the radio gets a little...
Bro, I got a quest from the radio.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you can do that in this game. Yeah.
Someone was on the radio. It's like, we interrupt this broadcast, and someone sent out a distress signal. It was like, I am here. If anyone can hear this, please. Did you do that quest?
Yeah.
That was wild. That quest was wild. Let's just say that.
Yeah, dude. I'm interested off the mic. I'm curious to know what you did in the end of Paradise Island. Is that choice just kind of jumps on you and ambushes you? I'm like, oh, okay.
Controller, sit down. Like you put you like, yo.
Lives are at stake.
Like, now what's up? Like, fantastic stuff. Fantastic stuff.
Yeah, I really I really have enjoyed it so far, and I'm addicted to it. Like in the sense that, dude, I mean, yeah, part of it was I was trying to get it done for review, but like I was taking it at my own pace. I was like, I'm not rushing through any of these side quests or conversations. I've talked to like every named NPC you can find in this game. Like I'm going through all their options. I'm in love, dude.
Yep.
I know when I'm in love, and I'm not rushing for my review.
Facts. That's what I said. I was like, Addict, you have at it. I was like, I'm on the first island. I did every quest, and I'm ready for the next planet now. I am not rushing this. I am having too much fun. I'm not going to speed up my food. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, exactly. Addict was like, I finished it in like 39 hours, and I was like, did you do all the side content? He said, definitely not. I was like,
definitely not. Yeah.
I was like, bro. I said, I need to see every companion out. I need to see every side quest on these damn planets out. I explore every corner, bro. The way Ben's brain was getting massaged and treated beautifully by Power Wash. That's what's happening to me with Outer Worlds 2. I'm like, this is the Bethesda style experience I crave so deeply. I think KCD2 does it in a lot of ways. Mm-hmm. The only thing I've always said, it's not a critique of KCD2, by the way. Mm-hmm. It's exploration. Like it's intentionally realism driven. So there's no fantastical like, oh, I wonder what this lab's being used for or something like that. Right. I love how dynamic and reactive and free of, the freedom of choice that KCD2 brings me. But the Outer Worlds 2, like being this sci-fi game where I'm like, what crazy fucked up thing am I going to find? Like that just gets me going. That's why I'm a huge Fallout fan. It's why I like Fallout a little bit more than Elder Scrolls. Like, so, sci-fi always gets a little bit of the rub for me, but man, dude, I've been really, really enjoying this game. And so like to my point about being addicted, it's been like 5-6 hour sessions, like every night.
And it flies.
Dude, the fact that I just traveled to a wedding with this thing, cause I knew I'd have like 1 hour of downtime and I was like, cool. Before I throw on the suit, I'm just laying in bed in my underwear, just playing this shit. I'm like, this is great.
Yep. We got on the ally. I was good to go. Yeah. I think it's good to see it. And to me, it was just like Obsidian to be just reaffirmed. Yeah. Oh no, we are him. We are them. Like, don't forget. And it was good. It's a good reminder. It was a good reminder for me, and I was very happy for them.
Because outside of Avowed, it was the first RPG that they've delivered in like a strong sense since the first Outer Worlds.
Yeah.
So it's been a while. Ben, I want to just get some words in from you here, so you're not forced to be a listener.
Oh, it's all right. It's good listening. I'm used to listening to you guys anyway. So
thank you.
Yeah.
But just, are you interested in the Outer Worlds too? Is it something you want to pick up, or is this kind of on your radar now based on our thoughts? Like, how are you feeling about it?
Yeah, I played a good bit of the Outer Worlds 1, the first game, and I enjoyed it. And I generally enjoy this genre. This was not like built into my schedule for the rest of the year, but it certainly has moved up the list now that you guys have gushed about it a little bit.
Cool.
The thing that really kind of just grabbed my attention there was when Cog was talking about those water cooler moments where everything changes. In the last game, I mean, there have been many games that have done this, but the last game that kind of did that for me was Baldur's Gate 3. When it came out, right after it came out, there were so many of us were like, we at the end of the night or whatever, we'd all hop into voice chat and just be hanging out and be like, oh, I just did this part and this happened, and somebody else was like, no way, this other thing happened to me entirely. And like, I've watched videos, I've played through the game myself, at least the opening of it multiple times, and like there is, there's always something a little different. One thing I did not know could happen. So recently, Lockmore and Brad and our buddy Justin and we all started playing a playthrough of Baldur's Gate again, because none of us had ever played like a full playthrough with other people.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. I mean, I've played like little bits and pieces with a friend here and there, whatever, but
I do a full playthrough.
So we're playing, and like something that I won't say what it is because I do think it's like such an impactful moment. I'll tell you guys if you want to know later, but something happened, like a decision was made and something happened, and I was like, I didn't know that could happen. And like compared to any of my previous playthroughs where like the character that was affected is a major part of the story, they're gone now. And I'm just like, I did not know that was even a possibility. And I certainly didn't know it was possible to happen in this way. So like those moments after the fact, and if Outer Worlds 2 has any of that, that's really cool to me. I think that's cool.
If it's Baldur's Gate 3 level, we'll see. It definitely has those levels of like pick their fate, but like Baldur's Gate 3 is obviously on that whole other level.
Yeah, that's
creme de la creme.
Hard to compare to that, but it's still that reminder of that.
It evokes that.
Yeah,
for sure. I think, Ben, you will appreciate because I think we share similarly. We're like, there are genuine moments in this where it's laugh out loud hilarious.
Yeah.
Like, and some of the voice acting is so good. And you're just like, all right, you got me. This is funny stuff, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's truly good. The personalities, the quirkiness, plays on corporate, it plays on some of the factions, some of it like plays on religion and fanaticism, and there's certain tropes that they go there, and I'm like, okay, I see what you're doing, and I think people are gonna have fun with it.
Yeah, it's a lot of the Outer Worlds ones, kind of like on the nose thematic character design of like, hey, Spacer's Choice is about like the bottomless corporate greed, and like no doubt like it's hilarious that a Microsoft owned studio is doing this, and they carried a step further because like now it's not Spacer's Choice and Anti-Cleo, but Anti's Choice, because Anti-Cleo did an aggressive merger.
They did a merger, they did an acquisition.
Yeah, they acquired them.
Bro, they play. Obsidian is not playing no games with this, man. There's a lot of subliminals going on.
It's very in my opinion, at least, I don't know if everyone will agree, because it's a lot of humor, but I find it very thought provoking. Like, the Protectorates are about religious purity, and like you'll see like there's a terminal I found where it was like, here's the real situation, like we're fucked, like this is going terribly, and it's like sanitized text. We've actually allowed them to take all of this ground because we're gonna get them later. Like, it's like that sort of thing. I got a kick out of that. And then the Order of Ascendants, I don't think you've met them yet, Cog.
I met like only 2 members, but yeah, I'm
like,
waiting.
They're the
to know
AI
more
bros. Like, it's like all part of the prompt. It's like, and they're like, it's the equation. But if they don't know what the equation is, they are so fish out of the water. It's amazing, and it's just like, it reminds me of the people who are on Twitter, like at Grok. Like, that's what that faction is.
Bro, you mean the dudes that be like, we got to believe in the great plan. Plan. Those dudes is wild.
Yeah. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. Yeah. So I love that they say a lot while not being preachy, being funny about it, and kind of like, it's kind of South Parkish. Like, they're taking the piss out of everyone. So I enjoy it a lot. Great game so far. Excited to share final thoughts next week with, I imagine the game will be done by then.
Yeah.
Cog, shall we move on to this next Xbox Game Studios title, Ninja Gaiden 4? How are we feeling about this one? I know you played. Did you beat this one?
I am very close to the end.
You started Outer Worlds 2 before you finished this one.
Bro, Outer Worlds stole me. Stole me, bro. I was like, I'm sorry. I want to keep going.
I feel bad. I feel bad. I thought you were done. I must have given you that FOMO.
Because you an addict, man. I'm like, damn, they having so much fun, and I just want to see. And then you go like, oh, I want to see, and then 10 hours later, you're in.
Yeah.
You're right. I was like, it got me. It got me. So what I've been doing is slowly on the Ally, knocking out a level with Ninja Gaiden and close to the end. But look, I'll say this, man. Platinum did that, man. They really did a phenomenal job. There was a lot of pressure here. This is the iconic Ninja Gaiden franchise. Then you have to play with Ryu Hayabusa and the legacy behind that. And you're introducing this new character that no one really knows about. So there's a lot that could go wrong here. Now, when I previewed the game, I felt they were confident. It felt strong. The game, first of all, from a performance standpoint, this is one of the stronger performing game as far as like, whenever a AAA game has a 120 hertz mode, I'm like, okay, for console, like, usually if you see a 120 hertz mode, you expect something like Ori. You know what I'm saying? Like, not this AAA game. So I knew, speaking in the console side, that performance was super key for them. They wanted utmost precision. They wanted that reactive play for people who truly are those master ninja Souls-like guys. Because make no mistake, this is a very difficult game if you are not in tune with this franchise. Shout out to my boy Ebontis. Like, he's like, hey bro, I'm new to this. I am struggling. I'm getting C's rankings on every class. And
he was hitting me up too. He was the struggle was real for him.
Yeah, struggle bus. I said, bro, don't feel bad. I'm a C class ninja as well. You get through it. I can tell you what I got going on. The thing with this game is a plethora of moves. That's what surprised me. The move list is robust. And then the thing that will take getting adjusted to is the way the parry system works for them is actually you can attack at the same time the enemy is attacking to thus, create a parry system. But that's just one way of playing, right? You have that. You have leaning into block and block parries, and this other thing is called I forgot it's called the fatal flaw or whatever it is. And there's so many ways to skin a cat in this game, so to speak. So many ways to utilize different moves. And then we now even talk about the Blood Raven moves, which are now a different stance that does more power attacks to break enemy armor and do all types of stuff. So look, I will say, you are with Yakumo for a while. So
now you understand what I text you. I said, I think they little Ninja Gaiden, or not Ninja Gaiden, sorry, Metal Gear Solid 2. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm going to put the disclaimer. If you are coming into this saying, I am a Ryu Hayabusa fan, I can't wait, and you think it is going to be a switch back and forth every 5-minute kind of thing, be prepared to be with Yakumo for a while, right? Now, I will say, for a person at first was skeptical, I kind of like the young boy. The young boy, he's cocky. He's got I'm the young ninja. We're Raven Clan. We're this subsect. You've been dealing with the Dark Dragon stuff, but you guys ain't really solve it. Here I am kind of deal. And you got that going. Now, look, other than that, let's get this out the way, too. The narrative is nonsensical ninja nonsense. Like, let's just be clear. There's nothing. There's nonsensical foolishness. There's the story is just a driver to get you into combat. That's all it is. We do fighting, and we do fighting cool, and we just masking it around. So if you come in here looking for a story, no. Yeah. It is very minimal. It's typical Ninja Gaiden flavor is what I would consider it. But I will say this. The moments when they advance the story and they get you to, well, I'm not going to spoil confrontations. Oh boy, this is epic. And I will say, as a person who destroyed Halo 5 for what I consider like very decisive, a very, like, not, what's the word, deceiving marketing, where it's like, remember it was like, Spartan Locke, Master Chief. Yeah. Here it is, bro. And then we saw it. We was like, that's it?
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh, no. This, without spoiling, everyone gets their moment. And I personally thought that was done with respect and dope, just really cool. So look, overall, I'm very close to the end. Everybody in ILP beat it, which I got an excuse. I'm doing like 4 games. I got 2 NBA games. Y'all should be happy I'm that far. And I got a lot of stuff going on. But to my crew, they were like, Cog, no, they pay this off excellently. So I'm curious to get your advice, Batty, because obviously you've beaten it, and I'm very far. But I will say, like, as I've gotten farther. Oh, I will say that I got to give them some smoke, though. One thing that prevents it from greatness, prevents it from that 90 kind of class, what I would consider. My issue with the game is, as great as it is, as good as it looks, as fun as it is, there are times the pacing is off.
Yeah.
There are times where I'm on a stage, I feel too long. And I'm like, oh, is this going to end? Like, and then it'd be multiple stages of a biome, so to speak, right? You're like, all right. And then there's times where like, oh man, this stage is cool. It's over. I'm like, what? Like that part. So I feel like the pacing sometimes is uneven, and it doesn't. Sometimes it overstays its welcome in certain places, and then other times it doesn't. So that was my little point of frustration. But other than that, you know what I'm saying? If you're a Ninja Gaiden 2 Black fan, you're going to be fine. You're going to love this game. If you're a Ninja Gaiden 2 fan overall, you're going to love this game. And I thought, for the most part, this is a strong shit. But I'm curious, Matty, I've been talking a lot. Like, what's your assessment?
Yeah, no, I loved it. I find it massively flawed, like more flawed than I expected, but I kind of don't care. That's sort of where I landed with this one. To address the emotional part of it all, like yes. It kind of came full circle for me when I texted Cog. I was like, bro, I wept at the end of this. Like, I was like, damn, I was like, this really meant a lot to me, because I didn't think about it until it was done. But the first review that I watched that I went out and then like bought something for was Ninja Gaiden Black. It was an IGN review, and it was because, like, as a kid, I was growing up playing like Nickelodeon spin-off games and tie-in games and whatnot. And like a lot of these sucked. And I remember like spending my money that I barely had as a kid, and then it goes and the game's terrible. And like, I'm a kid. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. So I tell my dad I'm upset with it. And he's like, well, why don't we like research more before we buy these games? I'm like, okay, like how do we do that? And so we find ourselves on IGN.com.
Nice.
And we look up top rated video games. And there's, I think 9.2 or 9 out of 10 Ninja Gaiden Black IGN. So we watch and we're like, whoa, okay, this looks really good. So We then proceeded to make a list of all these games: Star Wars Jedi Knight, Jedi Academy, Corvette. Like we get all these games on a list. We go up to GameStop with like $60 or something, $50, something like that. My dad's like, I'll treat you. We go up there. And GameStop, this is my first time going there as well. I was like, oh my God, like, cause like we didn't have a lot of money growing up. So like $50 is everything. So you have that moment where you walk into GameStop, and it's why I'll never fully hate GameStop, because I'm like, I go in there and I see experiences as far as the eye can see for like $10, $5. I'm like, dude, what? Like, I thought this was only a tag sales. There's a store I can drive to that just has this. And Ninja Gaiden Black was one of the games I picked up. It was $10. And when I picked it up, I came home, I played it, and I got smoked as like a 9 or 10-year-old or however old I was, because that game is not built for kids. But I fucking loved every second of it, and I've been a fan ever since. So when I had that moment of finishing the game, and I was like, oh, I don't know if some poor kid watching my channel, but like I just had that moment of like, wow, it's come full circle. Like I get to review the next Ninja Gaiden when we all thought it was dead too. So it kind of hit me. I was like, damn, this means something. And there's like, I'll just say like the title menu changes when you beat the game, and there's music that plays, and it's very much like peaceful. It's strange. It's very peaceful though. And it brought me this emotion where I was like, wow. And then you combine that with the series creator recently passing away, and it's like,
Itagaki-san, rest in peace to the legend.
Absolute rest in peace. And there was a lot of love from the gaming community sent his way, rightfully so. And so it was like this moment that randomly became bigger for me. And I was like, wow. So number one is the series in good hands now. But two, like, wow, this is a lot for me. So I think the series is in great hands. I think one of the best reassurances is like Platinum Games can still make a really great action combat system that's both feeling good, but also like technically and skillfully deep while also being accessible. It's not like a Nier Automata or a Bayonetta, in my opinion, where you're like constantly dodge spamming and slowing down time and just whooping your enemies from behind. Like you're not really getting that here. You can do the perfect dodges, but it's not the way you win. A lot of it is perfect blocking and counterattacks, and a lot of it's actually being patient, which I didn't realize until the end of the game, where I started to be like, oh, I'm getting caught button mashing because I can't stop my combos and dodge in the middle of them. And so when that happened, and I went, okay, I'm going to like wait for them to attack, and I'd like parry, and then just like you see that big flash,
that flash
button, you'd like cut right through them, and then you're like, now you're open, and I go after them a little bit. That's when you started to realize like, oh, this game has depth to it. So I was really happy with the action of the game, the presentation of it. Like you do get a lot of Yakumo. I will say he overstays, I think, a little bit, where it's like you're ready for Ryu to make his debut. And like, I think they hold on to it for a while. Other flaws that I would mention are like the level design is just not as good as older Ninja Gaiden games. Like, I love the kind of old school God of War 1 and 2. Like, you find like the Gorgon eyes or whatever they call them in those games. And like, you kind of had similar things in Ninja Gaiden, like the eyes of the gods, or the lives of 1,000 gods. Like these, oh, my Nimpo went up. Cool. Like, these little upgrades that you would eventually get. There are things that you find in the environment, but they're usually just usable items. Like you'll go all out of your way, you'll fight a bunch of enemies, and you'll find like a divine elixir, and you're like, okay, whatever. At least it was fun getting here, I guess. So the game, I think, just its exploration, they didn't really have a good grasp on that. You could tell this is a young director in that like he's learning a lot as he's going along. Like you can feel parts of the game where they get it, and they knew what parts they wanted to nail and probably what they dreamt of when making it. But the kind of in between, like Cog mentioned, pacing, level design, some encounters being off, or reusing bosses. Like there's those moments where it feels a little stretched, but I found it to be overall like reassuring. Like it's just a really fun game. It makes me happy that Platinum can still do that. You can feel the collaboration in the project. Like you can, like we talked about with our previews, you can see the Team Ninja in it.
Yeah.
You can see the Platinum games in it. You can see where they came together. You can see their respective design philosophies, like those sort of random missions that are in the levels themselves are very Team Ninja. Like they just love giving you that feeling of like you're progressing something, something's leveling up, something's moving forward. You're unlocking something, like that currency driven game design. Whereas Platinum's like the pure like flashiness of it all, the action of it all. Yeah. So I think they did a great job. Could I say like nailed it? It's like, no, but like if they're making Ninja Gaiden 5, I'm like, fuck yeah, that's great, because I think this is a great foundation to build upon. We did have a write-in about the story. It's from Aaron Rodgers.
Word, of course.
Hello, fellow ninjas. I wanted to ask about the story of Ninja Gaiden 4, assuming you both played it. I'm new to the series with Ninja Gaiden 2 Black and was surprised about how much the story gave me an aneurysm. I tried to pay attention to it only to be rewarded with nonsense, especially with the soundscape of the cutscenes. You would hear footsteps from in some of them. How bearable is this story in Ninja Gaiden 4? Is it coherent fun or will it give me another aneurysm? Either way, I'll be playing. Have a great day, ninjas, with a smoke bomb sound afterwards. Thank you, Aaron, for writing in. And what I'll just kind of say to top it off my thoughts is that the story is not great, as Cog said. It will give you an aneurysm because I think honestly, when it opens up, it's a pretty simple objective and it works. It's like, hey, we have these 3 dark dragon seals we need to release to get the dark dragon back again and to kill it once and for all because you're a Raven Clan ninja. It's that simple. Mm-hmm. Yep. And it works. You just get to this point in the game that won't spoil where like it's like the mid 75% point where you're just like, what the fuck's going on? Like,
what's happening?
Yeah, like it just they kind of just decided to do something else and then come back to it later. It's a weird story. It will definitely give you that same feeling that like I always point to one example of how wild Ninja Gaiden storytelling is, right? Like the first level in Ninja Gaiden 2, right? You open up like dojo's under attack, right? You're fighting off all these ninjas and all of a sudden, and then Ryu's like, okay, I'm going to go find them in New York City. So like you go from like the heart of Tokyo and just in a moment you're in New York City. And I'm like, did this dude, like I'm picturing Ryu on the plane like this, just like waiting 13 hours for his flight. I'm like, you think about those little things. Ninja Gaiden's never cared about that in its story. So what I define Ninja Gaiden 4 as in my review was just like a bit of a guilty pleasure. Like it's very flawed. You'll notice these flaws. Like I think the levels kind of look bland. Like there's a ton of things you can point to and be like, that's a problem or that's an issue. Do I think it amounts to things that people will end up disliking? Yeah, like I think some people will think this is a lot more close to Ninja Gaiden 3 in ways that they wouldn't have liked. It's definitely not like Ninja Gaiden 1 or 2. And you know, I'm fine with that because I think it's got the action and flashiness of Ninja Gaiden 3 with the challenge of like Ninja Gaiden 2 Black. Not OG Ninja Gaiden 2 or the original Black. Definitely not. But it's not enough challenge where it's like, you know, the game will put a little bit of hair on your chest. And that's on the normal difficulty, you know, so it definitely gets very difficult in those higher levels. There are trials that you unlock after you beat the game. So there's more ways to test your mettle. You get to play as Ryu throughout the entirety of the game afterwards and unlock a whole new difficulty. So there's a lot here for those who love just like mastering action combat.
And also the purgatory modes in stage, if you find them, those can provide a challenge so you can wager your life and stuff like that. So there's definitely things to do for the hardcore. But for those who are intimidated by this game, also like they have enough from the accessibility standpoint. Like if you keep dying, hey, you might want to an elixir here. We know as you keep looting. You know what I'm saying? Kind of thing.
That humbling treatment once. They're like, you can call in your fellow ninja if you need help. I'm like, I'm not doing that. Don't do that to me. I ended with an A rank. I was pretty happy.
Ooh,
I was nice. I was nice at this game. Yeah, I felt bad. Because E was like, sent me a picture. He had like a D rank on a boss fight. I just sent him like an SSS. I was like, because Attic was like, yeah, late game's tough. And I sent a picture to E and I was just like, it's a late game not challenging me.
Bro, it's like, and I will say this, like you said, as far as the story, I totally agree. The last thing I'll say is just that like this game, you could tell like they were having fun. It's like, does that look cool? Put it in. Like, this game is about, we don't care if it don't make no sense. That looks cool. And then when you start like, the platforming is just crazy. They were like, you get the glider and you get the rope and the thing, and then you go and when you start the dance of it, right? Where you're grappling, you're doing the glider, you're doing all these different cool things, and you're surfing, and you're like, okay, I see what this is right now. This is just put it in. We're having fun. And just go for it and make it stylistic and flashy and just go. It satiates that part of you if you care for that stuff.
Agreed. Ben, is this one on your radar?
It is on my radar. I'm a fan of Ninja Gaiden from way back. I played Ninja Gaiden 2 Black Ninja Gaiden 2 Black earlier this year. Of course, that's the re-release, but I actually have in my garage the original Ninja Gaiden arcade cabinet.
Talk about hanging from the thing with the 2 feet, with the 2 player.
Yeah, it's not functional right now, but when I saw it, like I had to have it. So I have that. But I also wanted to point out one other thing. Earlier, Cog, you made the statement, I'm really into the young boy. And I just wanted to make sure everybody knew. Yes. No, I know what you meant. I just want to make sure everybody else heard it.
Yeah, right. Thank you.
Because I've been waiting 10 minutes to mention that.
To reemphasize. So when I say the young boy, I am into Platinum Game Studio head, Mikhail-san, who has taken the reins of the Ninja Gaiden franchise, and he's the figurative young boy in the building.
Yeah.
He's been entrusted the keys, right? So his favorite game when I interviewed him is Ninja Gaiden 2 Black.
Yeah.
And Ninja Gaiden 2, excuse me. And then I think he also helped on that project, whatever, but he was entrusted with 4. And everyone in that team, I was telling Maddie when I went, I was like, everybody's young here. When I went to that studio, I'm like, I'm not used to, these guys are like teenagers, like they're just out of college or something. Like, I was very impressed that they had so many people with lead roles at Ninja Gaiden 4 that were extremely young. And I was like, I think they might be in good hands. I was surprised because we all know, based on Platinum's history, post, what you call it, Kamiya-san, that who I've also met. But
all those leaders gone.
Yeah, when you worry like how that's gonna go, and they just getting this kid's energy. And I know what's funny is we had a translator, but I could tell he understood my English very well, but he just wasn't comfortable speaking it back to me.
That's pretty common, yeah.
He saw my excitement of the things that they were doing, and I was just like, yo, you even have stealth in a Ninja Gaiden game. What's that about? You know what I'm saying? And he was like, yeah, we're doing this and we're doing that. And that's what I was saying. So that's that young boy energy. That's where I'm going with it, man.
That was a really long explanation to say.
To save myself.
To save yourself from embarrassment. But yes, it is on my radar for sure.
Excellent. All right. Well, to round us out, let's just talk about everything else we're playing. There's more. Cog, you're under NDA for 2, so that should just be...
I cannot talk about the next 2 games.
Okay. So that leaves it to me. Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2. Russian treble barking at minorities writes in. That's unbelievable.
That's hilarious.
The fuck? Afternoon $1,000 Dukes. Can we get a gut check from you two for this week's big release in Dispatch and Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2? The Telltale-like superhero adventure with a really cool voice cast and the narrative blood-sucking RPG don't seem to have gotten the attention that Yote, Battlefield, Pokemon, and even Digimon received this month, but I think they're interesting all the same. Wanted to know if they were on the radar of anyone else. Have a Cog getting a call in 9 months from a number with a Japanese area code. Oh no, bro.
Like I have no Ohio exploits.
Yeah, I was gonna say there better not be not to the Japanese folk, bro. You can't be Ohioing it up in there. All right,
I gotta be careful. I will be back to Ohio though.
All right, so I have nothing to really add on Dispatch. I am interested in that game, though. It did look really good from when it was first revealed, and I know the reviews came out for the first 2 episodes, but I don't know if it scored well or not. But I did play some Bloodlines too. In all transparency, Paradox reached out to sponsor the video, and I mean, look, I only do these videos if you let me say what I'm going to say, and I had like a video that I was going to do for a sponsor video a few weeks ago, actually. And the developer's like, no, we don't want you putting that out. I was like, okay. So I'm just like, I don't want your money then. Like, that's all there is to it. I was surprised when I sent this video in, and I was pretty much like, yeah, I'm not crazy about this. And I was like, they're going to reject this. And they were like, go ahead, post it. I was like, okay. Yeah, I respect they were looking for honesty. So what I'll say is this. If you're looking at this as Bloodlines 2, you will be disappointed because this is not Bloodlines 2. It's barely an RPG. But if you look at it as like Vampire the Masquerade Seattle chapter and just ignore the whole Bloodlines 2 part, like this is not a follow-up to the cult RPG. This is not as like deep or reactive as that game. You're just looking at it as like a spin-off story in the Vampire the Masquerade world. I think you might find a way to have some fun with it. It's like that hard 7 out of 10 where like for every good thing I can say about this thing, there is something pulling me back in to be like, well, keep this in mind though. So for example, combat is actually kind of cool. Like, you feel very powerful. You launch suckers. Like they'll come at you. You'll hold the power attack button. You'll like back fist them like some kung fu art, like martial arts, and they'll go flying across the room and like splat into the wall. Like you feel really powerful. You'll get these powers. Like you can levitate guns and shoot them at enemies when they're floating in air. You could feed on enemies and recharge like different abilities you get. Like it's a very solid action system. There's stealth in the game. They have abilities very similar to Dishonored, where it's like you can blink around the environment. I'm like, okay, this is actually pretty solid. But then you kind of get this throwback to anyone who remembers this game. This one scarred me, was Thief 2014.
Oh, I remember.
It's brutal.
Yeah. Thief 2014. They give you a great tool set. Like, here's your water arrows. Here's your fire. Like, here are these great tools, but we're only going to let you use them at like very specific moments. And like, they kind of throw you down these narrow passageways where it's less about player creativity and expression that the tools otherwise incentivize. So it's like that drawback. Like, you get decent combat, but you start to lament the combat because there was places where you wanted to use your stealth tools, but they're not really great for you to use them at. Story. This kind of whodunit vampire murder mystery mob tale is actually really solid. Like, it's this sort of, you have a vampire living, your Fire, who is this like vampire legend. You've been asleep for over 100 years and you're awakening, and in your brain is another like master vampire, and Fabian, who is a detective vampire. And he was like investigating something. And so basically this game is by the Chinese Room, who Cog, I know you're familiar with for sure.
People, yeah, I remember them from what you call it?
Still Wakes the Deep.
Still Wakes the Deep.
Yep. Yeah. So they're a walking sim team making an action RPG. So you can see where this is going, right? So you have a game that's set in 2024, but then Fabian sections are playable and they're set in 1920, and they're flashback sequences that are walking sims. And so you walk around, you talk, you investigate, that sort of thing. And I do think the voice performances between these two, like Fire sounds like a very typical vampire, but then, you know, Fabian's this like gritty noir detective, and they have this one shot. I'll grab a screenshot of it. But when you and Fire and Fabian are talking, it is like this really cool side profile Sin City look that I'm going to put in our group chat right now here, that just has an extreme cool factor that kind of brings you in. And between that and the voice acting, like when these two are kind of cooking together, I do think this story is interesting. It's very Mass Effect like, where you have a set protagonist who's voiced rather than like you're whoever you want to be. Like when you pick your vampire family at the beginning, it just kind of determines your starting place for the skills. It's not really about like, hey, you know, if you pick this family, then you're not going to get these other skills. It doesn't wall you off. So it's not a hardcore RPG. What you get instead is a story mostly on rails, very little reactivity, even though the story does present choices to you. And by the end, some of that, from what I've read online, does play out. But from what I experienced, like I fucked someone over big time. They're like, you're going to pay for that. I'm like, all right, bet. And then an hour later, they were a person giving me a side quest, and we were like, bro, anything you need, I'm there for you. So it was that type, especially I played this before I dove into Outer Worlds 2. So even then, before I was feeling true reactivity in my veins, I was playing this. I was like, doesn't have that reactivity. So Seattle's beautiful. It's set in Christmas time. It's very atmospheric, very beautiful. It's a little open world, and like you can run up the walls, over the rooftops. Like, again, atmosphere is wonderful. So again, it's a tug of war. It's an absolute one of those games where, like, if it's for you, even I strongly recommend waiting for it to be on like a very deep sale. That's the only way I think you can get away with this game being all right. My editor, Dan, who loves the Vampire the Masquerade series and just replayed Bloodlines 1 for this one, is like, it's fine. He's like, it's a solid time, but he's like, I'm disappointed that this is like Bloodlines. If this wasn't Bloodlines, I would like it more. And that seems to be the community sentiment. If it were not Bloodlines, I think people would be more warm to and welcoming to this one, because it would feel more like a spin-off story, which is what effectively it is. So if you treat it like that and you buy it on a deep discount, like $20 or something like that, I think you'll end up having an all right time with it. But for full price, especially when I'm playing another very great RPG right now, and there's other great RPGs this year, I think the only get back you have with this is like, oh, finally a decent vampire game, right? Because like the last one we got that comes to my brain was Redfall. No, we are not going to acknowledge Vampire Survivors.
You said decent, and then you said Redfall.
Did I say wait? Did I say decent?
You said the last time we got a decent.
No. Sorry, I misspoke. The last time we got a vampire game of note.
Okay.
Of AAA level, yeah.
Yes.
That was awful. To be clear, no one misinterpret me, please.
Yeah, okay.
I don't want to get clipped.
No, good catch, Ben, because I heard, I was like, did I hit it? What I just said?
Oh, man. Brutal.
Good.
Thank you for saving me, Ben.
You're welcome.
So yeah, that's Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2.
Nice.
Last game I'm playing. Oh my God.
A lot of games.
I know. October, bro. Busy time.
Crazy.
Pokemon Legends ZA.
Here we go.
Oh, brother. Empty Zero writes in, howdy, Dukes. Matty, I caught your review on Legends ZA this week. I just finished it, and while I agree on many points, I think it's a great game. Fresh battling for the series and a great story that concludes X and Y arcs that have been left to sit. Arceus/ZA are right behind Emerald, Platinum, Black for my favorite Pokemon games right now. Did you have a favorite Mega design, new or old? Did you end up seeing the story through to the end? It was strangely compelling for a Pokemon game. Have a where are my Sinnoh starter Megas at kind of day. Thank you, Empty, for writing in. Okay. So, I love Legends Arceus. This is a rare Pokemon game I do defend nowadays. I mean, it's visually heinous to look at, but like it is a lot of fun. It reinvents parts of the formula, like, hey, catching in the overworld and new progression systems and more open and explorable and like Pokemon actually out in the wild. And the story's interesting because it's not about like Pokemon are our friends, but like an origin tale of like, should we fear Pokemon? Should we work with them? Why are Pokemon attacking us? Why are they aggressive toward us? How can we better understand them? It kind of grounds itself in this weird, strange reality. And it's also like a time alteration story too. So it's like really cool. There was a mystique to it. There was a peacefulness to it. There was a confidence to it. Like, we know we have something here. I have found Legends ZA to be the exact opposite. This game is smaller, worse looking, less explorable, and in a lot of ways embarrassing, which is already a low bar to cross. We're talking about a game where, like, by the way, I don't want to oversell Legends Arceus. This game, you know, it's not great looking. Its biomes are just like weather patterns, if that makes sense, as in like, oh, you're in the woodlands and it's just like trees and grass and like some water. Like, it's nothing crazy, but it's diverse enough to like, oh, you know, hey, these water type Pokemon are near the water. Whereas like ZA's, like, we have 8 city parks. And inside these parks that are, by the way, the size of like my fucking pinky, are like 4 Pokemon. And you'll go in there and you can literally see them looking through the fence. Like, all right, I see you. All right, I'm walking in. So you like walk in and there's no more of like the stealthing and sneaking that's useful. You just, bro, I'll catch
go into the zoo to go Pokemon hunting.
Yeah, literally, bro. You go to the zoo to hunt Pokemon. And the thing is, bro, I'll catch these Pokemon in their grill. Like, I'll be right in their face. I'll be like, doink, like off their head. And I'll just fucking catch them. I'm just like, bro, none of like the stealth and the carefulness of the Arceus game is here. So these city parks fucking blow, in my opinion.
Them urban Pokemon.
So the reason the Pokemon are in the city is they're undergoing urban redevelopment. So they're going through a little reconstruction program in the city. So Pokemon are like in all these different parts, but also something's attracting in there, and they're mega evolving. I agree with what Empty Zero said about like the story kind of having a little hook to it. Like, there is an intrigue to it, but like, bro, I just don't think it's enough this time. Like, you're not playing Pokemon for the story. I think there are games where you can, like the Mystery Dungeon series has great stories. Like, I think you can justify it there, but like here, man, like I just think it is so unbelievable when the bar was set so low by Arceus on a technical level. Like, certainly with the Switch 2, you would make a bigger city that's more active and that you could enter these buildings. Like, if you're going to make it just Lumio City, you certainly are going to let me walk in the buildings of Lumio City. Nope. You're like on the outside the whole time. You go up on these rooftops occasionally. There's like 3 buildings I can think of that you can enter. It's just so fucking bad. Like, I don't want to oversell. I shouldn't say bad, because it still has some of the skeleton that made Arceus great. But what you get here is just a shortchanged effort in every imaginable way, which is saying a lot with where Pokemon's at as a franchise. You get a new action combat system like Empty wrote out here. So it's more action oriented instead of like Arceus or other Pokemon games where it's turn based. Like, you go, I go.
Okay.
The best comparable I got for you is like Xenoblade. Like, you drop your Pokemon out into the world, like one at a time. You drop one out and then you lock onto a Pokemon. And then when you lock on, your 4 face buttons allow you to like drop different moves. And some are effective, super effective, not effective. And because it's all happening in real time, it's kind of this pseudo timing based combat system where like if it's a ranged attack, it takes longer. If it's a close range attack, it happens quicker. And so there's no animations to kind of telegraph what your opponent's doing. So you just kind of fucking move spam. The benefit is that you move through fights quickly. Like I defined it in my review impressions video is like for every 5 fights that you do in ZA, that might be 1 fight in RCS. Like you just rinse people in this game. So what ZA really excels at is this sense of progression and completion. If you like that sort of satisfaction, it's a little bit of what Ben kind of broke down in Power Wash Simulator, although Power Wash Simulator sounds much better, but it's that same sort of feeling of like, I'm inching something forward. I'm finishing something. I'm leveling something up. A Pokemon's leveled up. My research level's gone up. I unlocked this new item, or I have this new move, or I have this new thing I can adjust here, or it's now time to do the ZA Battle Royale. So I'm going to go fight like 20 trainers in a row, and I'm going to like level up my ZA rank. Like there's always something to do. It never leaves you idle. But I think it's because they know that they've given you something so less than that it's very mobile game-like. And it's like, just distract them. Just keep distracting them. Keep taking them off of it. And so some will find it fun. And I don't think like Empty Zero or others who think this is great. I'm not like as outraged as others about this game because I don't think you're wrong for liking it because there is a fun factor to it. It's not just, oh, give me Arceus or give me nothing. It's just that the setting is so bad and the combat system is not enough because it just feels like a watered down version of an already very basic combat system that's just now being rushed. Like now you just like, there's no depth now. Now you just like, one and done, one move done. And it's like, okay, trainer fights went from like 20 seconds of being, or a minute or 2 minutes of being boring to now like 10 seconds, but it's still like just in and out because there's nothing else to offer you on the tactical level. So Legend ZA, like I look at it, like I'm looking at it right now. I'm like, I want to play it. I want to play it because I love Arceus and I want to finish it because I love Arceus, but it's definitely not a priority for me to answer the write-in. There's, again, it's one of those things where when you reconnect with a game that feels like it's respecting you and your time and your tastes, like the Outer Worlds 2 for me, I'm like, I'm a taken man. I'm going over here. So yeah, I've been playing a lot lately. But once we finished the scenario for our story, I was like, I told my team, I said, I'll take a week off and just play some games and review some stuff, So I'm technically still working, but I was like, I need to play some stuff. And this is me at 100% now. This is me doing only this job. And it's been nice. I got to be honest. It's been really nice to just settle in with a lot of these games and kind of get back into it like that. Nice. So yeah, that's what we have been playing.
I'm so disappointed with the Pokemon stuff because I am like, essentially as long as Pokemon has been around, I've been a fan. Mm-hmm. And I'm just like willing. I'm like, I will put out a good Pokemon game and I will throw money at you. Yeah. Matter of fact, I'll buy a copy for my kid, like on top of that. Yeah. So if they put out a really solid one, but I mean, Arceus, I know that there's pretty mixed opinions on it, but like it was even one of those games where I'm like, well, I kind of want to play it, but I don't know if I should. I ended up playing it because my wife just like randomly went to the store and bought it for me. I don't remember. Maybe it was for something, but like I mentioned it and she heard me and she went and bought it. But like I just have not been compelled to buy a Pokemon game for a while. And I was hoping like maybe this one will do it. Yeah. It doesn't seem to be the case.
Yeah, like I recommend it to completionists, if anything. Like if you're a Pokemon fan and you really like the feeling of completing things, I really don't think you'll hate it. For $70, I think you'll hate it. Yeah. That's the other thing. It's a full price game, man. Like the expectations, it's not just like, well, Pokemon should do better. It's like for $70, like this shit should not be this confined to like a city that I can. By the way, bro, people have been timing. Cog, what is your guess on how quickly you can run across this city?
40 minutes to an hour?
1.5 minutes.
Stop playing.
Yeah.
You can just like straight run across it without stopping to do anything. Yeah.
1.5. Yeah.
What is it, a block?
Yeah. It's funny. That's what the buildings are. The buildings are all flat textures. So you know how like, Cog, if I show you my windowsill, you'd see like, the windowsill is projected out. Maybe there's a railing and that's a 3D model, right? Or this newest Pokemon game, it is all one flat sheet. So the window is as deep as the railing, as deep as the plants on the windowsill. It's just like wallpaper, bro.
Wallpaper.
It's a texture sheet on a cube model. It's unbelievable how low the bar is and how little they have to do. It doesn't have to look incredible. Arceus is living proof of that. It doesn't have to look incredible. It really does.
I've seen the splits as far as how little the investment it is, so how much money they're making.
$13 million project.
That's crazy.
And you could tell. I saw it. I'm like, yeah, this, yeah. Like, I mean, that's a lot more money than most teams work with, and many teams make their games look way fucking better with way less money. So there is a talent issue as well. Like, there's no denying that. But their transition to 3D Pokemon, it's so bad. It's like, go back to 2D. Like, everything you already do is in 2D. Is just projected on the 3D objects. Like, it looks terrible, and everyone sees through it now. It's no longer like this secret. Like with Sword and Shield, people are like, you're overreacting, and all this. It's like, no, not anymore, bro. Like, we're in deep waters now with Pokemon. It's getting bad out here.
Jesus.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's what we're playing this week, doing things a little out of order. It's time to talk about what's happening in the world of video games. No, Ben, he had to tap out as we discussed earlier in the show. So salute to Mayor Ben for being with us here.
I still got the key to the city. I still got
yes, sir. Oh, you still got it?
I still got the key. I don't think
remember when I forgot mine?
Oh, yeah.
I don't think I ever got it mailed to me. I should have brought that up.
Name and gold. But look at his name. Fly. See if it comes through. Benjamin Smith. That's his man.
Come on,
that's
now.
the man. He's still there.
That's nice. Yeah, I got to get my hands on that. But first story we got here, Cog. Improvements coming to the Xbox Ally. Xbox writes, quote, in the coming weeks, Xbox Ally players can look forward to previewing default game profiles, a new feature that balances frame rate and energy use for select titles to give players smooth, enjoyable gameplay while extending battery life. And that's just the beginning. Early next year, we'll also do a rollout enhancement to the docking experience for both Ally handhelds, introducing AI-powered features like automatic super resolution and highlight reels for the Xbox Ally X, plus much more. Anything here stand out to you, sir? I feel like the game profiles will be good for that website you were talking about earlier.
Yeah, they need that badly, man, because again, the console guy, he's not going to be knowing what to do, what settings to put a game on. And people just want to run their stuff optimally. So they got to do that to get the badges going, to let people know, hey, this is Ally ready. I do like the the highlight reel stuff. I hope that leans into sharing to social media easier, because I have an issue. That's my main pain point with it. It's like, come on, like I shouldn't be seeing File Explorer, Windows Explorer when I'm trying to share video or a clip or whatever. But yeah, and I'm curious about the super resolution. That's going to be interesting, because it does have an NPU and an AI chip in it, and I want to see how they utilize it.
That's what I'm interested in too, because no doubt that'll be a big part of their next gen console. And it's like, if this thing really does get more powerful over time, it makes you wonder how, one thing we talked about last week, and we'll probably talk about a bit more this week, is how Xbox is kind of targeting mid-range PCs with their next piece of hardware. And it's like, if they have access to this type of technology where it gets more powerful over time, to what extent we don't know, but is that how you compete with PCs on the market, where instead of like replacing parts, you're just updating software now? Like it'll be interesting to see, but looking forward to those updates. Next up here, ID at Xbox has a showcase that I wanted to put people on alert for. It's coming October 28th. It's going to feature teams like Raw Fury, Serenity Forge, Skybound Games, Thunder Lotus Games, and more. ID at Xbox program has been on an absolute tear for a while now. So definitely, if you're into indie games, this is one to look out for. That'll be next week. So keep an eye out for the announcements coming for that. We'll cover it here, of course, if you don't want to track that. But Cog, any thoughts on this one? Anything you're looking forward to? Any teams that stand out to you?
Yeah, Skybound. We'll see what they're doing. Thunder Lotus, I want to see what they're doing. And ID at Xbox has been cooking, man. when I was in Tokyo, I got a chance to catch up with the Thunderful game, Wishfully Games, excuse me. Thunderful is the publisher. Wishfully Games is the studio, and those were the ones that I found my beloved Planet of Lana, and they did so well. That they coming out with a sequel. So I got an interview out there now on RLP with the developers when I was out there, and it actually is one of my favorite interviews I've done on the show floor. Like, I really love that team and what they're trying to do, and they got the composer for he did Avatar: Last Bender, he did Star Wars, he did The Last Guardian. Like, this guy, the composer they have for Lana is just amazing. So yeah, I'm hyped for two, but just want to give ID at Xbox their flowers. They've been killing it with the indies, man. Yeah,
I agree. Up next, just a quick update on a rumor that y'all have already heard, but it was reaffirmed from trusted source Nate the Hate. He says that if you're looking for information on what's coming to Starfield, such as a PS5 announcement, he said look for that in 2026. So I'm just encouraging people to kind of mentally close the the book on Starfield for this year. I don't think we get anything at all.
Yeah, nothing.
This year.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, so I mean, especially if you're Bethesda proper, their money is in Fallout right now. They'll get you at Starfield later. To them, This is like, how do we spread the wealth? And I think what they're doing is smart. Give Starfield time to cook. Get the Fallout fans while they're hungry, because come February, that'll be all done with, and it'll be mostly dried up by January. And I'm sure around that time is when Bethesda will be ready to talk about Starfield. And it's been long enough where now if they came back with some interesting stuff and it was competitive, I think it might wake some people up, because I think like a lot of the built-in anger is kind of like settled now. Like, we've forgotten about Starfield.
It's true. That's what we both said. Like, just take your time, go away, cook, come back, and then obviously coincide that with the PlayStation announcement with whatever new content you got. That's like an easy W for the most part if you can nail the content.
Right on. Mm-hmm. That's it for like really the mini Xbox news. Obviously, we have big ones coming up later, but for other news circling around the industry, Warner Bros. Discovery announces that they are up for sale again. This comes from IGN.com, where they say they confirmed they're officially considering buyout offers and reported interest from Paramount Skydance. While Warner Bros. Discovery said it is working towards separating the two distinct media companies, Warner Bros. And Discovery, by mid-2026. It has now triggered the acquisition consideration following unsolicited interest from multiple parties for the entire company and Warner Bros. An investor-focused note issued on Tuesday, October 21st, the company said it has initiated a review of potential alternatives to maximize shareholder value. It was now evaluating a transaction for the entire company or separate transactions for Warner Bros. And or Discovery Global businesses. So this is a pretty high-profile move. They say, quote, "We continue to make important strides to position our business to succeed in today's evolving media landscape by advancing our strategic initiatives, returning our studio to industry leadership, and scaling HBO Max globally. We took the bold step of preparing to separate the company with two distinct leading companies, Warner Bros. And Discovery Global, because we strongly believe this is the best path forward. It's no surprise that the significant value of our portfolio has received increased recognition by others in the market. After receiving interest from multiple parties, we are reviewing our strategic alternatives to find the best path forward to unlock full value of our assets." So obviously a lot of this is talk about, what's going on with their movie, TV operation, but this affects their video game operation, of course. And we've seen hints that things are obviously not looking good for that part of the business. There's not much coming out for Warner Bros. And outside of Hogwarts Legacy, not much of it has either done well or been received well. Obviously, famously, you have Suicide Squad. You shut down the team that was behind the Shadow of Mordor games. Really, their only hope, and it, by the way, has been, 4 or 5 years since the last Lego game, but your next hot product is a Lego game, bro. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that, because Lego Batman Legacy of the Dark Knight looks amazing.
Yes.
But it's also you have so many more IP and things you could work with. You should be cooking more. They have NetherRealm. Mortal Kombat's still continuing to do its thing, but I know it's kind of fallen in and out of favor with the community. Mortal Kombat 1 was a little more shaky than I feel it should have been. That's been the case for a lot of MK games lately. So, of course, Lord Acquisition, I turn to you. If that's what we can still call you.
Yes.
They're up for sale. You're Phil, you're sitting in your office like this. Do we splash?
I mean, the problem is it's the whole WB. With Xbox at this point, it would probably just make sense for NetherRealm or you know what I'm saying, one or two of the actual game operation studios. But as I said before, right now they're in the process of dealing with other things, and they're dealing with AI, and they're dealing with a lot of other things at the top. And being that they're in the stakeholders are in the show me the money business, I don't think right now they are looking to be acquiring any more things right now.
I agree.
Based on what is going on. So I don't think, I would be shocked if Microsoft is involved, unless you hear internal reports an individual studio is going through it, and then they have interest. Like for example, let's just say we heard, Mortal Kombat really did bad. They missed all their metrics and they're looking for a home, right?
Yeah.
Then maybe I could see maybe a scenario where Microsoft throws their hats in there. But for the most part, I think they're going to be done for a while, because the push is AI and the push is for what they currently have to trim be extremely profitable. Only big name franchises kind of flourishing. So I don't think they're in the business of shopping, in my opinion, right now. That's just me.
I agree with you completely. Do you think there's anyone who comes to mind? Because there was a time where, years ago when Xbox was not kind of falling apart in a lot of ways and slimming their business and making money, that we thought they were a good fit. But now it's like, because we thought like, WB gives you a lot of access to IP that would no doubt fortify Game Pass. You have, you could target like younger kids with like Lego games. You obviously have like the more mature stuff, Lord of the Rings and whatnot. Obviously, again, that's not really the case anymore. Does anyone come to mind for you?
I'm very curious to see where PlayStation's doing. You know what I mean? Like, I know they also are going through like, a trimming the fat and a recalibration, so to speak. Yeah. But I know NetherRealm. I'm just biased because I love NetherRealm. It's just like I look at PlayStation and they have the FGC, they have Evo, right? It does kind of make sense, you know what I'm saying? Now, as far as exclusivity, that probably wouldn't make sense, because you want Mortal Kombat to be everywhere, fighting games to be everywhere, kind of thing. But that's about it. But the other thing is, look, Hogwarts is a big IP, Avalanche, software and stuff like that. I could see interest, but again, what's the price going to be? Because I get the sense that this is multiple times with WB. So, and then there were times where it's like, oh, you give it to studios, but we don't want to give you the IP. So I'm very curious who the suitor is going to be. I'm actually genuinely curious. I do not know who would be jumping in or play like an embracer kind of role. Unless it's, matter of fact, I just thought of somebody. Because obviously we see what happened with EA. Yeah. And we're seeing investment a lot from Saudi, companies and stuff like that. So maybe that, what I'm saying, is, them and Tencent is the ones running around right now. Yeah. So unfortunately for some, that may be on the radar, but we'll see.
Yeah, I have a random off the wall in industry prediction based on a company that I see who just seems to be doing really well right now, and they have all the right partners and IP, and I'm like, I could see a world where they want to expand. I don't know if you can get the IP from WB with them though, like if you're just looking to inherit talent, but I don't know. I just Bandai came to my mind. Like you have a lot of like you think about how you've been publishing FromSoft games, outside of Sekiro for a while now. Elden Ring did its thing. Digimon's doing really well. They have a death grip on the anime market. Dragon Ball did really well. Like they have a very figured out business here, and they managed to hit all age ranges. And I'm just wondering what they could do with that talent alone. And I just feel like they're a company that I would look at as one that could reasonably expand because they have sort of, I don't think they get enough props for how well they have it figured out. Like they just kind of got it going on, in my opinion. I don't know if that means they go and buy like a WB Discovery, but I'm more so looking at like individual studios that they could sniff around at. I think that's the case nowadays. I do feel like famous last words. I do feel like the days of like whole brand purchases like we saw Xbox Activision, I think is over because all the people with the money are tied up now. Yeah. Right. Or have been burned. If you're PlayStation, I think they might look at this and go like, yeah, not all WB, but like you mentioned, like NetherRealm with PlayStation just being so in on the fighting game community and stuff. Like I could see a world where PlayStation's like, that's great for them. Like, let's get a fighting game team going. Let's bring back PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale and hand it over to Ed Boon. It's just that stuff where obviously I've learned my lesson. It's like I hope there's no more of these mergers and acquisitions because it just doesn't seem to shake out well anymore. But if it is selling off, I guess those are some of the companies that come to mind. I could see some fits for PlayStation. Bandai, I just feel has money, and then obviously more likely Saudi and China money. Yeah, it's gonna flood right into. They'll be like, we can buy this for a premium.
Yes, yes, they will throw money. I did think of one. There's one player left. 2K.
You know what? They were sniffing. They
were sniffing that perfect November. Yeah, 2K got and they are in the blockbuster business. They still are in that. 2K got to watch them.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's the best one we got, I think, in industry. Yeah, that's a good one. They were sniffing out a game that's in this sort of breed right here. Good call. We'll see. They'll probably pull out again and just not sell off.
And that's
I guess. This is an update from last week's story. We talked about how Assassin's Creed franchise lead Mark Alexis Cote had recently left, and we were kind of dissecting the entire story and how, okay, he left after such a long time, and there was expressed disappointment with Vantage Studios, and you were kind of looking at fears within like Saudi money being taken and Saudi DLC being made, and reportedly from IGN they said that like people in the building were asking about creative freedom, and so you hear that with like this new Tencent backed Vantage Studio, who Tencent famously has not been very creatively liberating. They just have a lot of money. And so a lot of people were wondering, well, why did Mark Alexis Cote leave? And some people were poo-pooing it like, yeah, it's not a big deal. But you, me, Jimmy, were all like, something's kind of up here. And now we have confirmation via a LinkedIn post from Mark Alexis Cote. He writes, quote, "Many of you have expressed surprise that I would choose to leave Assassin's Creed after so many years, especially given the passion I still hold for it. The truth is simple. I did not make the choice. Ubisoft decided to transfer the leadership of Assassin's Creed franchise to someone closer to its new organization. A different position was mentioned, but it did not carry the same scope, mandate, or continuity with the work I have been entrusted with in recent years. I want to be clear, I hold no resentment. Ubisoft has been my home for all of my professional life, and I will always be grateful for the people, the projects, and the belief that together we could create that could inspire millions. But I also owe it to my teams, past and present, to say this plainly. I did not walk away. I stayed at my post until Ubisoft asked me to step aside." Cog, your thoughts on this? It's kind of like, that's what we feared.
Yeah, we called it. This is disheartening. Man, again, with the new ownership now, he's saying he doesn't hold any resentment, but it's like when someone tells you that the position that they're offered is not going to have the same scope, it's basically a demotion on some level. And then clearly the new heads in charge, they have someone in place that they want to run things. And this is sad because this is a visionary. This is a person who's literally holds the keys to the Assassin's Creed series and the heart of it, the flavor of it. So that's a tough blow. Remember we talked about with Xbox how we talked about like losing these pillars, right? These leaders, these luminaries, right? That have all these plethora of experience and it kind of makes you. And when you lose enough of those guys, who do you end up becoming, right? Mm-hmm. And that's the fear, right? That's the fear with this new ownership. So this is a huge loss. I'm not sugarcoating this one. This is literally the man responsible for like the most iconic IP.
One, yeah,
bro.
Yeah,
like how do we lose that? Kind of thing, and he's forced out. So, yeah, they just shows me, they're not in control, and that's what's happening. When you have to answer to new people, and like I said, there's some similarities, what I'm saying, with Xbox in that respect. When you have to answer to new owners and new stakeholders and stuff like that, it's going to be different in the building.
Yeah,
it's going to be different, and I get it. They need to survive on some level based on what was going on with Ubisoft, but this guy, he feels not replaceable. It just feels like that energy. So yeah, this is big.
I mean, this is probably exactly what we all predicted, which is like Ubisoft stock was plummeting. Tencent swooped in, injected them with tons of money, and now it's basically theirs by proxy. And they're like, this is Vantage Studios, is ours. We funded this thing. We want to call the shots with this. We want our guy there. And I've seen people make the argument, I get it, like Assassin's Creed has been this weird floundering franchise, not financially, but floundering creatively and just like idealistically, like just there's been a lot of problems with it. And fresh blood, but that's not what this is. People need to be really clear about it. I get it. Like I'm like many people tired of the Ubisoft shenanigans and want them to do better, but this is not that path to like we're getting in touch with our older selves and we're really figuring out what made us great at one point. That's not what's happening here. And I think people are naive, and that's coming from a very naive person myself, to look at it like that. Like this is 100% like a kind of corporate takeover happening quietly that's forcing creatives out and replacing them with money makers. Who leads Vantage Studios but Guillemot's son, Guillemot owning Ubisoft, by the way, but Guillemot's son, who has no experience in game development and has only made a website that was like AI, NFT, like anime avatars. Like it's the most unconvincing shit. But probably one of those things. Oh, he's successful. He knows how to make money. Put him as a co-leader of this studio. That's what I'm saying, bro. It's and people who have covered Ubisoft deeply, everything from like Schreier exposés to YouTubers, knows like the Guillemot family is like a failure upwards. Like it's a family-owned business, and so like there's nepotism deeply involved in the whole process. Like Charlie Guillemot was not, from what we saw on paper, not set up to be like a leader of a new Ubisoft studio. That's not what was set up to happen. But suddenly, you know, I was watching like Ubisoft creators cover, and like all of a sudden here he comes. Like this is like he's our co-CEO, and it's like what? So you know, it's about getting our guys in at the top, and I worry about sort of like what that means for creative freedom. You know, keep in mind we're not very far removed from Ubisoft saying like women don't sell games, and they had to fight to put Cassandra in AC Odyssey.
Yes. And
that's unbelievable to me, as I always say, because I mean, I like Alexios, I believe his name was, but Cassandra was like the GOAT, bro. Like one of my favorite AC pro tags, like so well written, so funny, so interesting, so well acted. And I'm like, you had to fight for this? And that's again, we're not very far removed from any of that. This is a company rooted in its ways, and that was when creatives could fight back. Now they can't. Now you're creating what looks like, to me and many others, an environment where it's like, do this. Not like do this or else, just do this. You know, and that's not going to produce great Assassin's Creed stuff. Like if you thought this was a series that's just like, it's doing one thing and one thing only, it's going to continue to do that. It might get worse in some ways, like those cash shops, those like in-world monetization things that they have where you like find a collectible on the ground. It's like, oh, that's a Helix credit. It's like, yeah, open the in-game store now. Like they might fucking hit you with that shit. So that's my rant, bro. I have deep concerns about Ubisoft.
Yeah, likewise. Them and EA. That's how I look at it. You know, what's going on.
And those are like huge companies from you know, just nowadays, but when we grew up, man, like their names are on every box.
Pillars of the gaming industry. We are in massive change as far as from the top level, and then ownership of major third-party companies now completely owned by someone else, and now going through a whole transition and infrastructure change.
Agreed. This next one's interesting. It comes from Glen Schofield, who saw the news with EA, and he had some interesting comments. And then on top of that, I wanted to highlight something he said about the industry during a keynote. But first, he's trying to get Dead Space back. Quote, I went to EA recently, and they're like, no, we're not interested anymore. I said, I can get back the leadership team, by the way, for Dead Space. He said, I need the models from EA Motive, who built the Dead Space remake in 2023. He said, I can save you $30 to $40 million on the idea I have. And they're like, no. He says, I have quite a few ideas that I'm ready to go with one of them, and it's Dead Space 4. The fact that EA just got bought, I think there's an opportunity. I'm already making calls. I don't know where EA's head is at right now. I don't think they made money on Dead Space, like the remake, but he said Dead Space needs to be adapted to different mediums, movies, TV series. It would be great, but I'm more optimistic since the sale of EA because someone new could buy the Dead Space IP, end quote. So Glenn trying to get a deal done here. I don't think he himself is buying it, but I think he's trying to basically get EA in bed with another company and be like, they'll buy it and I will shepherd it. So keep an eye on that. I don't think EA will play balls. You and I talked about a bit with like BioWare and stuff. Like I think they're going to sell this shit for premium since they have $18 billion to make up. But there could be a squeeze where they're like, let's see if we can get some money out of this. Like, are we going to go back to Dead Space? Like, it'll be interesting. EA is going to, at some point before this acquisition is finalized, make a pretty staggering like sell off of like, whoa, this person just got this. So whether it's Dead Space or BioWare, like something we know and love that's you know, prominent is going to go somewhere else or just go into the dirt, one or the other. It's going to be a crazy day. But to see Dead Space is being targeted as well by the original director and creator.
No, that's what I was about to ask. Like, how you feel about it? Like, what does that say about the sales? Did they not hit their targets? Like,
yeah, well, I think their sales were in as EA has done before. I don't know if they were in a great fair spot because they were trying to do what Resident Evil did and they didn't get Resident Evil sales, but they got good sales. It was like they got a couple million, but what I think EA forgot is like the Dead Space that sold the best and that people loved the most was 2. And if you remade that, it's just like Assassin's Creed. It's like you can remake Black Flag, but when you remake 2, that's when people are going to show up. Black Flag people will show up for it. Don't get me wrong, but like,
sure.
You get my point. Like, that's the type of thing that's happening here. So I think the sales were fine, but it's obviously not for me to say. They were. I mean, I remember Motive saying they were like trying to do another remake. They were trying to do Dead Space 4. Like Dead Space 4 has been trying to get across the line for a while across this industry. If it's Glen Schofield who gets his hands on it, I would be optimistic, even in light of what happened with Callisto Protocol, just because it's coming home. There's just something different about that, right? Like Callisto Protocol had like a weird melee system. That was my biggest critique of the game outside of the kind of bad story. But Dead Space, I just feel you can argue. I guess I'll argue with myself for a moment here. Glen Schofield was also like on the downturn when he did like Dead Space 3. You could look at that and be like, yeah, that shit was like, I mean, I went back to Dead Space 3 a couple of years ago, replayed it in full and co-op, and like, yeah, that game's still like, it's not like a Resident Evil 6 where it's like, oh, it's a guilty pleasure, maybe.
Yeah.
I think Dead Space 3 is legitimatately not good. Dead Space 4 needs to happen because of what happens in Dead Space 3's DLC.
Okay.
But I guess there's like a reason to trust Glenn. There's a reason not to. Right. I can expand my thoughts a little bit more because of what he said about today's current industry.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
So he talked about the state of the industry in a keynote and said, quote, AI isn't here to replace us. It's here to make us faster, better, and more efficient. And AI is for all of us. It really is. It's not just for directors and artists. It's for writers and marketing executives. So I think executives, owners, founders, let's start training our people on AI. Start it as soon as you can. Who cares if I'm EA or Activision or Namco or whatever? We should be working together at least in training and training our people up. That would be a huge help because I know we're going to start hiring people back again. This was in light of like just layoffs and talent and how do we get back to that point?
Right.
Then he continues into the money spending part of it. He says, come on, investors and execs, let's stop this madness. You want to make a AAA game for like $8 million. You got to get your guts back again. If we start putting money into the industry again, we know it's going to make money. To me, you pick the wrong people to run the wrong teams to run the games, right? In my opinion, you need a big creative person who's running it, and then you put people around this to help with this and that. That's the way I work these days, right? I still run my studio in ways that I have, but I have people to help, so now I can be 100% or 98% on that. That's what these games need. I saw some of the people that were chosen, and they were good people, but there's no way they were ready to direct a game. So I said, let's, where did I lost it? Sorry. So I said, let's start putting money in, do due diligence a little better on that. We know you're going to make money, but we have to make quality games. You have to give them to the right people. Then he concluded with some interesting sentiment here.
That's what it's fun.
Bring back E3. I mean, come on. E3 is the granddaddy of them all. And I will tell you, every single E3 that I went to made my games better. And I know there's no formula to show a return on investment on that, but every game got better when you went there. You talked with your friends, you talked with colleagues, everybody's thrilled to help you with the next technologies or showing you mechanics. When the companies started going outside of E3, I knew this was the end. And I started boycotting those because that was not an industry that was working together. This is an industry that's fragmented. And so now there's no E3. Remember, ideas are the lifeblood of the industry, and those ideas, they come from you, end quote. A lot of love about this, but a lot of it I don't. Also, I'm not crazy. Glenn is such a vibes guy, right? Like, he's just like, does E3 make sense logistically? No, but he's like, but the feeling, man, like, there's something to be said about that, which I can talk about. But I'm curious what your thoughts are on what he said here. You read this and you're like, that's my Dead Space 4 director. Are you hyped about that?
Look, man, I mean, he's making a pitch. He's definitely making a pitch to make that happen. So the Dead Space part, clearly, like you said, there is somebody he's probably got in mind. He's trying to get that pitch to EA for them to bring it back. You could tell he wants this to happen and probably got a genuine care for it. But the fact that they told him no those couple of times just seems to be a possessive nature of the IP. And I'm getting the sense that like, nah, unless it's something we really consider super big, super profitable. And again, that's what my concern is with the new EA, right? Like, there's going to be a lot of titles under this new regime that, outside of their burger, shake and fries of what is it, Battlefield, FIFA, Madden, kind of thing, that it's going to be hard to make, pitches to me that don't appease them, that are not these really big scope games. So we'll see. I hope he gets a shot at it, because people really love Dead Space, and clearly he's tied down. He do what you call it? Didn't he do Callisto? Is he? Am I confirmed? Okay,
yeah,
right. So which some people felt like had some inspiration, but wasn't really saying Dead Space.
It was just the combat system in the story. Like it just like Dead Space's story is amazing, and obviously its combat's even better. But like Callisto was just this weird melee dodge system, and it was just, but it had so much Dead Space energy. Otherwise, it's a game that I don't think people should hate, but I also get why people are like disappointed by it. I was one of those people.
Yeah, no, fair enough. Now, so how's the AI stuff?
Yeah, let's see that. That's what I'm really curious about.
Yeah, this is interesting. Now, look, he has some vibes and ideology. Some things I share, which is like, look, in theory, in practice, there's going to be ways that it's going to improve game development. It's going to be ways that it's going to make things better, right? The problem is the trust level with corporations having this level of push towards this technology is very off-putting to a lot of people, because what they feel is that you are trying to automate everything, and things that would require the human side and the creative side, the artistic side, people are concerned about that. And let's be real, like stakeholders and corporations are in the business of making money and being efficient. So if there was a way to eliminate jobs and you become, the self-checkout line, they're going to utilize it. You know what I'm saying? You know how it was when you went to Target one day and there stopped being a bunch of cashiers. It's like, oh, go use the self-checkout line. Yep. It's so much more efficient. And then with the rumors and stuff that's going on, when you start hearing about, some corporations maybe potentially mandating things and saying, no, you have to use that, right? So again, in theory, these tools should make game development better. But again, the fear is training Skynet to be your replacement on certain things. And that runs people. And then also game quality, individuality, the human touch, the human care, the flair. And here's the thing. I will say this. I know there's a lot of, fear-mongering is a strong word. There's a lot of concern about AI, which I think is very founded. It's one of them things, man, like, it's good. I will say I still have faith in the human spirit in this regard. When Mr. Matty Plays does a video, you know what I'm saying? When certain people do a video and we say, no, that's not it, right? That's not it. Just the sheer mention of certain studios. Remember when Expedition got hit with a little
AI? Yeah.
Remember when Alters got hit with a minor little controversy that they both cleared up? It was like, no, we did not. That's the faith I have in the human spirit. The humans will be like, nah, bro, we not fit. And mind you, those are minor things that those two got absolved from, right? It wasn't like, the game used AI on this massive level, whatever. Yeah. But the sheer, hey, the audience don't want that. We don't like that. Or think about the voice acting community, thinking about the artist community, right? There's a strong upright. What do you mean we're not going to have this voice for this person? It's an iconic voice. What do you know what I mean? It gets into that great territory. So they will, this is my prediction. They will push. They definitely, corporations will push, and there's going to be people who are going to be resistant, and there's going to be, I will say there will be some products that are going to be good. And we go, oh, wow, that was built from, not fully, but on some level, right? And the gamer will decide it. But there's going to be a lot of projects by prediction that are not good. And people are like, that is terrible. That is soulless. Yeah. Get this out of here. Don't ever do that. And it's going to reflect in the sale. Put it this way. If people are complaining about a creative player and the use of a pronoun, what do you think is going to happen when people really see something that they find egregious or soulless or ruin something that they once loved because of the infusion and the forcing and the mandating of, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The audience will decide. So
it will take a franchise taking the fall, though. That's what's going to happen.
For sure.
Someone's going to do it, and they're going to go too far, and it's going to be a big disaster. And from there,
for sure,
because you brought up like, pronouns and stuff, I'm like, I think of Dragon Age right away. Like,
Yes.
you fly very close to the sun.
Right.
And now you see a lot of companies have completely pulled back.
Pull back.
From that.
That's what's going to take. It's going to take one company to go out there and say, yeah, our flagship, we're doing that.
Yeah.
And they're going to say, no, that's trash. We not with that, right? And it's going to be a huge, this is why it's bad and yada, yada, yada. The only flip side I will say, though, that for the developer, there will be things and tools that will make some aspects of game development
100%.
more efficient.
Yeah.
And people are like, yo, thank God I got to go through the code and do X, Y, and Z for all these things when I can use. So I don't want to vilify it completely, but so that's the good case. But there will be, they go push. Yeah. They gonna have to get lashed instead of the push. So that's my prediction.
Yeah. On the AI front, I mean, it's kind of inevitable. I think it just needs to be responsibly used. There's a reason why with all my interviews, I ask everyone, like, what are you doing with AI? Like, I asked Fargo, who's a part of an Xbox studio, and like, he did admit, he's like, yeah, we have like a voice line that we forgot, that we added in, and we got permission and we paid the actor or the actress, I forgot which it was. And he's like, we did do that. He's like, yeah, we've done that. He's like, otherwise though, it's for like just purely like ideation, or he's like, I'll use it for data management. That was the most popular one. Like Ken Levine said they have like a personal Gemini that they just use for Judas. He was like, yeah, we like just pretty much talk to the bot and like spit questions at it and it'll spit us back answers. Like, we've trained the bot. Like that's actually kind of like a smart use of AI. Like I normally would shudder at like, oh, your story is like using AI, but I'm like, that's a really interesting way of maintaining information. And if like someone's not available and you have a question, and this bot that you've trained to hold your entire story and everything is like, hey, does so-and-so die in chapter 4 or whatever it is? It's like, oh, yes, it does. And it's like, okay, then I can't do this or whatever it may be. That sort of data management, I think, is fine. If it automates the process enough to get you into the putting your hands on it, then I don't think there's a problem with that. There's been a lot of rumors as we want to talk about it maybe like after a certain reveal. Yeah. But with Halo. Yes. But there's been a lot of talk about generative AI, and like it just shows how the word scares people, because the rumor was like procedurally generate the environment and then put your hands on it. Everyone's like, oh my God. Now, I'm not poo-pooing it, but a lot of people are like, oh my God. I'm like, yo, guys, to be real with you, who does this is Bethesda Game Studios. Since Morrowind, as far as we know, arguably further back than that. Yeah. They literally have openly said for decades now, they're like, those words too. We procedurally generate the landmass and then we hand decorate from there. There you go. Obviously, we see where it goes probably really far with something like Starfield and you see the backlash. Exactly. And you look at something like Oblivion, Skyrim, Fallout 3, where it's like, that still was a computer generating that landmass, but all the heart and soul was handled by that 100-person team that put everything into every location and NPC in that environment. That's what matters at the end of the day. That's what it's always been. So when people kind of cross up generative AI in those ways, I'm like, okay, I think there's still, and I'm not speaking as someone who fully understands it. I don't fully get it yet. I think it's just such a scary thing. And I think so long as it's not replacing people or art or music or voice work, I think it's not the end of the story writers, of course. I don't think it's the end of the world. If it's automating your process and it's a tool, I'm not telling you to go bring a screwdriver to something in your wall instead of a power drill. Right. Like that's, come on. Yeah, come on. Like, it's a tool at that point. So exactly. I think some of what Glenn says there is accurate. Again, you can tell he's such a vibes-based guy because he's basically telling people to just get a set of balls and just spend some money. Why don't you? Like it's like marketing execs. Come on, you want to play a game for $8 million? I'd be curious to know what he's thinking of with that. I'm guessing he's probably telling. I mean, I think Nintendo and like the price that they're paying to like fund Pokemon games. But then his comments on E3.
Interesting.
Do you agree with that kind of sentiment of like? Obviously, it's not been the same since then. Right. But you can't quantify it. You can't put it on paper. You can't touch it. It's just, there was something about that though. Not just the unification of it, but there was something about, it's like getting rid of the Super Bowl. It's like as if NFL said, we're going to call it actually the Mega Bowl and we're going to do it every June instead. It'd be like, what? Why? Yeah. And so you get a more active year where like throughout we have announcements that drop tomorrow or Friday or Saturday or Sunday. It can happen any day, any week. But there isn't this sort of like getting all of the colleagues in the industry together, this idea exchange. No doubt leaks have picked up tremendously because everything's shared digitally now. And it is more fragmented where I read his words in the first read through. I was like, okay. The second read through, I'm just like, yeah, like there is sort of that special once a year, everyone comes together and shares, not just as fans. Like, of course we look at it from like trailers and reveals, but like from inside of the industry, just that sort of uniting of the minds. I know there's others like GDC and whatnot, but we know, let's be real. Like there's been plenty of pseudo replacements. E3 just had the swagger. E3 was like you have to be there. Gamescom has seemingly turned into that though, which is something I have to visit to lay my hands on and be like real about it and be like, yeah, that's true. But that's what I've heard. Like when I talked to Jason about it earlier this year, because I was going to go originally, he's like, yeah, it's a real deal. Like it's awesome. So I want to check that out. And so that's why I'm like, I wonder why Glenn isn't really thinking about that. That seems like a place where everyone shows up. But nonetheless, those are just my thoughts on E3. I do miss it. When I hear about it, I think about it. I'm like, I miss you.
No, I definitely miss it. I will say, last thing I'll say on it is just that he is right about that. A lot of the deals in industry stuff, because of the congregation of people, happened because of E3. And of course, it was a Super Bowl spectacle. My only concern is that ESA, how expensive it actually costs to facilitate and for studios to get out there and have those huge booths and stuff like that. And then obviously the elephant in the room, Jeff is outside. And he's not letting it go. The boot's been on the neck. He's been waiting for the kill blow. And when the kill blow went down, he was ready. Yeah. So I don't
He's got all the money now.
Yeah.
All right. Next up, Cog, just some updates on Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 3. The co-director Naoki Hamaguchi was doing a few interviews around the industry, one of which he did with Screen Rant. He talked about how the game will be more concise. Quote, regarding time management in certain sections, especially in Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, I honestly don't believe that they were longer than necessary. I feel like nowadays players just have too much to do and too much to play, so they often feel the urge that something has to be concluded quickly. As we work on the conclusion to the trilogy, we are striking a balance on how story arcs are told and spread out as to ensure the game feels a bit more concise, end quote. Whereas the combat direction of the third entry has yet to be decided, because he was asked about Clair Obscur, and he's like, yo, the turn-based RPG combat's pretty successful. How's that working for Final Fantasy? And he said, quote, essentially for the Final Fantasy numbered series, the game design is based on the director's decision himself. For the new title, whether it's action or turn-based, that's not predetermined yet. If you were to ask me, is my next game going to be an RPG? Yes, there would definitely be a possibility. But is it going to be a turn-based RPG? We're taking this aside from the fact that Expedition 33 was received well. We receive a lot of JRPGs or back comments. For me, I'm mostly thinking about the game experience fans will enjoy. That's the most important point, end quote. So, it's kind of undecided, but I'll be honest, dude, I kind of hope they just stick with the combat they have, because I think the remake trilogy has, or I guess duology currently has some of the best combat in the industry. Like, it's that perfect mix of turn-based and action. It's the closest we got, if you're talking Square Enix proper, to like Kingdom Hearts 2, which is like an amazing combat system. So I don't want them to change it because of Clair Obscur, but I do hope the next mainline Final Fantasy game does have turn-based. I think that would go a long way. But what do you make of this, Cog? They're going for something more concise. Rebirth, obviously, very big open world game, lots of content to engage in. What do you feel about something a little bit more focused than that? And of course, what do you think about his comments on the combat?
Yeah, well, I don't mind concise. You know what I'm saying? I don't mind that. Look, they got to land this plane. There's a lot of confusion after the second, and they're playing with iconic characters, iconic storylines, and there's a lot of things happening that people are concerned if they can land the plane. I gotta be honest, I'm a little concerned that he said like they haven't decided the fighting. Like, how have you not decided that? Like, I'm like, why wouldn't it? I understand. Listen, I love Expedition 33. They changed the game. Kind of thing. And like, would I be mad if they had something mimicking? No, but I guess my concern is that you had a vision already with your ATB system and, what you do it's kind of dope. Like, I mean, I didn't see this huge resistance. Now, if you're talking about the next numbered series, Final Fantasy, and then you want to experiment and you want to play around, I have no problem with you going back to turn-based traditionally or that way, or mess around with a Clair Obscur kind of flow that way. But it kind of feels like weird to change up in the trilogy now, because it would be like every game in the trilogy is gonna have like a different fighting system, so to speak. Like you've been consistent already, kind of with the first two, right? So it's just like and integrate. So yeah, that part was a little weird to me. But what it shows me is Expedition is really influencing people right now, and people are like, "Oh, this is what they want." So we may. I know this is a big fear for Gene, and especially Hulk. Like Hulk, this is. Like, I'm going to call you out. I love you. I'm going to call you out. I know how you be going in. You going in. It's not that you truly hate Expedition 33. You love Expedition 33. You just have some issues. I'm sending shots at Hulk right now. This is my man. I love him to death. So I can send some shots. So anything I say here, I can say to his face. So he knows. But this is what my theory is. My theory is with Hulk is that his issue was with the story because he thought it was something else. And we went over that. But what I think is going on is that Expedition 33 is so successful that the industry will take notice, and then we'll have the copycat league. Yeah. See, that's his fear. And I get it. It's a founded fear, right? Because everybody go, oh, this is what they want. So now they're going to go away from traditional turn-based. They're going to give everybody this reactionary souls kind of thing. And I think that's the fear. And to his credit, that's why I'm going to give him his flowers now. When you see Namaguchi even saying something like that, you can tell the impact of Expedition is real. That the fans are like, yeah, you need to go back to Turbo, or you need to do that. You see what I'm saying? And I think that's what has people who love traditional concern that Expedition might spark this in the industry kind of thing. We'll see what happens. But I think he should stick with his goal. Do what you've been doing, bro. People love it. Just finish the story and land this plane, because people are worried with these traditional iconic characters and what the hell you doing. That's what the issue is. And that's more of a, me and Brad discussion, because I know Brad, I'm curious to get his feedback on that as well.
Yeah. Yeah. It's going to be interesting to see over the years what happens with turn-based combat, because I mean, 5 million sales in 5 months, like it's clear, I mean, I always said, I think that Baldur's Gate 3 should have been the shot in the air for everyone just to make what you want to make, because that game's selling the tens of millions of copies it did. I mean, anyone on paper would be like, oh, that makes no sense. But it's like, oh, when the game's really good and really true to itself and reactive and just player first, like you're not going to get Baldur's Gate 3 success every time, but you can have a stronger chance of finding success because you get signal boosted. And that's what it's all about. It's not just those initial sales. It's about how those people talk and how respected they feel. And then it spreads like a wildfire. And I think Expedition is another great example of that. But I just hope they make what they want to make.
Yes,
I think that'll be what's best. But I do hope for Final Fantasy to return to turn-based, at least for one entry.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely.
All right, Cog. The Resident Evil Remake rumors are heating up. Next year, we get Requiem, but what comes after that? Well, we got a report here. IGN writes that Resident Evil Zero's remake will reportedly launch in 2028 and feature a lead actor from Square Enix's Guardians of the Galaxy, John McClaren, who played as Star-Lord. But they also continue on writing, last year, IGN verified a report by noted Resident Evil leaker Dusk Gollum that claimed Capcom would be continuing to remake its classic Resident Evil back catalog with new versions of Code Veronica and Resident Evil 0. Now, MP First has suggested that Code Veronica remake is targeting Q1 2027 release window, while Resident Evil 0 will follow a year after. So, got a lot of Resident Evil on the way. Annualized Resident Evil for the next 3 years if everything pans out. Cog, how are we feeling about that? Have you played 0? Have you played any of Code Veronica?
Oh, yeah. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Code Veronica, that's my baby. That's from Dreamcast.
Yeah.
And I need to go back to that, because that was a big deal at its time. And I actually forgot about it. So I need to revisit. That's a great revisit. 0, correct me if I'm wrong, wasn't that the GameCube one? Or was it? What was 0?
That or Wii.
Yeah, 0. Launched first on GameCube. I'm going to be real with you. As a Nintendo hater at the time, I was very not committal to the GameCube. I was like, I'm not doing that purple lunchbox of a system. No. I remember resisting. I ain't going to lie to you though, Matty. when Resident Evil 0 came out, and I saw it, and it had the graphics were just so good. And I'm like, damn, they got me. I bought the GameCube. That was what made me. It's those Resident Evils. I remember it now. I was gonna hold out. I was still in my Nintendo boycott. I was like, I ain't messing with them no more. I'm not kidding no more. I was hating. But that it was that damn Resident Evil 0. I remember those joints, those prequels. And I'm like, damn, they got me. All right, how much does it cost? What do I gotta get? How many is it expansion? What is I gotta do? You know when you been talking mad trash, and then you gotta speak to your man, and then King was like, "Yeah, what you picking it up, right?" Just tell me what I gotta do. They had that, and I think they had a couple of like a wrestling game or something that was good. They had a couple of. I did pick up a GameCube for that. I held out on GameCube for a long time until that's what broke.
GameCube is the last one I got of the big three. Like I got my Xbox first, then PS2, then GameCube is the one I was like, bought it used. I was like, I didn't play any of the iconic Nintendo games on it. I just played whatever third-party exclusives they had. That was really it.
Joint. I did the same joint. That's crazy.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I mean, I've heard so many things about Code Veronica. I've not played Zero. I'm not.
It's good.
I've heard good things about that as well. Good. Yeah, I've played a lot of the main line, but like I know this is like a prequel to the original, but like I've not played. So like with the announcement of Requiem and how they're like, oh, it's connected to. I'm forgetting the name of the Resident Evil game that it's connected to. It was like some spin-off entry that had a sequel to it as well. And they're like, yeah, it ties into that one, something Files or some shit like that. I'm just like, oh, I didn't know that existed. And then I'm like, oh, I haven't played Zero. I haven't played Revelations 2. I haven't played Code Veronica. Like, there's still so much Resident Evil for me to experience.
Yeah.
One of these days. But I'm glad to see these remakes are on the way, so I'll probably just hold out for them.
Dope.
All right, Cog. Next up, this one's for me. A new Dragon Ball game is on the way. It's getting announced in 2026. This is happening during the Dragon Ball Genki Damatsuri. That's happening on January 25th next year. So you can look forward to a new Dragon Ball game announcement then.
At Makahuri Messi Achievement. That's what the Tokyo Game Show was. I was there. I know what they're doing.
There you go. Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so this could be anything. I mean, they've been doing everything with Dragon Ball lately. Like they just did a MOBA game that came out like a month or two ago. And people are kind of mixed on that because there's a lot of free-to-play elements. They've been putting like random DLC for Daima into their games of late. Like they, resurrected Sparking Zero to inject it with more life and put a new character in there. I'm sorry, not Sparking Zero, Dragon Ball Fighters. This has been like support has been done with that for years, and all of a sudden, like here's Super Saiyan 4 Goku from Daima, and like they just put him in with a whole new balance patch. So literally anybody's guess out there is as good as mine. My guess, though,
what do you want?
Is a sequel to DBZ Kakarot.
What genre was that?
That was a open world RPG. I think that is what they're going to do. I mean, they're still supporting that game. In fairness, it just got Daima DLC this year, but Kakarot did really well. CyberConnect did their thing, bro. Like the cutscenes were amazing, but they did the Z storyline. You don't really get any super stories from Kakarot. So I feel they've done some of the movie stories and now Daima. So I feel that DBZ Kakarot, like a Dragon Ball Super focus game on that would be awesome. And I think it's been enough time. Kakarot came out in 2020. So a follow-up to that would make a lot of sense. So that's what I'm hoping for, but it could be anything. I also was talking to a friend, and there's a game that I know Micah knows, and I think it might be Micah's favorite game ever, if not one of her favorite games. I have it here on the shelf. Here we go. Dragon Ball Z Attack of the Saiyans.
Break that down. DS jump.
Nintendo DS turn-based RPG that focuses on just the Saiyan saga. So for those who know Dragon Ball, you know what that is. For those who don't, the story is like up into the Vegeta fight, which is like one of the most iconic fights in all of Dragon Ball. It's like the first season, if you will, of Z. But I would love to see them go back to turn-based Dragon Ball. I like anything to do turn-based, of course.
Yeah, of course.
But you know, they did Dragon Ball Fusions on the 3DS. I love that game. That would be also really cool. So like, I'd love to see them do some sort of turn-based. That or Cog, last one. A Tekken style Dragon Ball game.
Ooh.
Which they did Budokai. Budokai was Tekken style fighting system. Not as deep, more arcadey. But
yeah,
Dragon Ball Fighters was like really deep, really highly technical, and did very well for both fans and pros.
Oh, yeah.
I would love to see a world where they do that, but they do a Tekken style fighting game for Dragon Ball. It's just like the Z Fighters, Budokai style again, like resurrect Budokai, but make it a competitive fighting game. What I would give, bro. Nothing would make me happier. So a lot of random picks out there, but like I said, it could be anything.
Yeah.
Shout out to
Bandai Namco. They got the biggest licenses, man.
Yes. Perhaps more if they make my prediction come true. All right. This next one, just a little one here, but I'm excited for it. Marvel Cosmic Invasion release date. It's coming December 1st. So if you want to get your beat 'em up on, we'll have to wait long. I'm surprised this is coming out this year. I thought it might be next year. So I'm excited for this one. Put it right on the calendar. I will be playing it. Very, very pumped. This beginning of December. It's time for us, Cog.
Yeah, I'm loving this. Listen, man, I'll be there day one. I downloaded the demo. I don't know if you played it yet. The demo's
I just
up on
didn't
Steam.
even want to touch it.
Oh, you don't mess with it. Yeah,
I just know it's gonna be great. I just know.
Bro, it was so good. I think it was Wolverine was Cap was playable. Wolverine. They had two. I think they had one Cosmic Duke Quasar or somebody else. And I'm like, yeah, I'm convinced. I've already got. And then remember, they automatic purchase physical all versions Silver Surfer in the game. It's automatic.
Oh, there we go.
Automatic. I was like, you put Surfer in your game?
Yeah, that's how you get it.
I like the depiction too. So I was like, yeah, I'm there day one. Can't wait.
Nice. So for me, as a Ninja Turtles guy, right? You know, I love Shredder's Revenge.
Mm-hmm.
Sell me on Cosmic Invasion. Is it more of that?
Yeah, this is classic beat 'em up energy. This is like, and then they also had like what I consider that tag in, tag out, assist kind of character thing where you could switch but it's not assist character. You did when you pick the second person, you got to like hold the button and he would come in and like I had Wolverine and Cap, and like Cap was my first choice, but then I had brought him in and he would do like a tag combo, but you wouldn't see them both at the same time, but they would just swap in kind of thing. But yeah, this was given classic beat 'em up with a little bit of a modern twist. It's like a couple of little move sets and different things. Very flat. Animation was really cool, really good. Yeah, it was giving that vibe. It was giving me the X-Men arcade vibe a little bit too. Giving me a little Ninja Turtle vibe. It's giving me a lot. Yeah, I was feeling it.
Nice.
I was convinced. I was like, I don't need to really see anymore either. Yeah. I was like, I'm playing enough. I'll wait for the full version now. I'm good.
I do not blame you. Yeah, it looks awesome. So for those who are interested in Marvel Cosmic Invasion from Dotemu, not Emu, sorry.
Yeah.
You can check that out December 1st.
Yes, sir.
All right, this next one. What a weird one it is. Quantic Dream. You know them for like Heavy Rain, Detroit Become Human, maybe even Beyond Two Souls. I think one of the more overhated games of our last couple of generations. Well, their new game has been revealed. And it is not what you've been waiting for in Star Wars Eclipse, which we have an update on as well. We'll read that in a little bit. It is a new free-to-play competitive team-based game. It's a 3 versus 3 strategy action game. It's launching in closed beta via Steam at the end of 2025. And that is Spellcasters Chronicles. And if you want to talk about a massive departure from what you know a team for, this is it. And I got all sorts of thoughts on like, can a team be allowed to do this? Like they wanted to do something different, but it's now been reported like this started off as a mobile game and then they scaled it up into something. So you can see the mobile game energy in just characters and everything. But they wrote in a statement, stepping into a new genre with a fresh artistic approach has been both a challenging and a source of growth, allowing us to evolve as a team. We now look forward to shaping the game further with players' feedback to perfecting this journey together. And I gotta be real, it's just very like generic looking fantasy game. Definitely not the style of game you know them for. So the question, of course, is what's going on with Star Wars Eclipse? We got that cinematic trailer reveal.
Hey, what happened?
That High Republic Star Wars single player project. Like, what's going on here? So I will read the quote here from David Cage. He said, quote, Quantic Dream is now, quote, something very different. They're making a competitive multiplayer experience that may surprise our fans as it's very different from what we've done before. However, of course, development of Star Wars Eclipse continues, and we are eager to share more with you in the future, end quote. He says, can I say it exists? Because it exists. This was back in 2023. So Star Wars Eclipse is still real. It's apparently still happening. But in the meantime, they're getting this out. I don't want to jump ahead of you, but I'll just say my read is a sort of studio survival. We need to get this out. That's okay. Go ahead.
100%. That's where I'm at. I was just like, this is not what they do, right? This is, you know what I'm saying? Clearly, if you want to call them the walking simulator, you want to call them the heavy narrative, high graphical. I'm a guy that loved Detroit Became Human too. I love that game. But it just shows me in this current climate, for them, sadly, those games probably just were not selling. And now this is, we got to get the bag. We got to come up with something, maybe the scope was like the experiment was mobile and then maybe people liked the idea. Now they try to push it on a bigger scale. That's the vibe I got. So, yeah, for fans of that studio and Cage, they're not going to be happy because this is like, bro, this is not what you do, for the survival of the studio. And, look, I hope for it. Hopefully it does well. It kind of reminds me of like Bungie and Marathon. Like, I'm like, okay, like I'm not really here for this, but if, I don't want you to fail, I want you to die, you know what I'm saying? So kind of thing. So look, I'm curious to see how it is, this spellcaster thing. I got to take more of a look at it, take more of an interest. I'm just seeing the trailer. It doesn't really do anything for me, to be honest. I mean, the art style is cool. I'm not going to say it's not, you know what I'm saying? But this is not what I really came for. But hopefully they hit with it. Hopefully something, it hits to an audience and this allows them to survive. That's what I will say. I will say, though, I do like the art style on this main, the characters. The art style looks cool. I just don't know if the gameplay is going to resonate in a market that is saturated with so many.
Feels like a decade late.
Yeah, like if you could have got this out early, but it's like, oh, they got a deck. All right. I'm looking at it like, maybe the mobile market will come to. Is not coming to mobile no more? I guess that's the question.
I think it might be. I don't know, but
this does scream mobile to me.
Yeah. That's originally what it was. I kind of look at it and just think to myself, obviously not a good time for the studio, and this is definitely not going to bolster any like excitement for the things that they're known for. It feels like quick revenue injection, and ultimately, like, it does bring up the conversation of like, can studios ever divert and just do something wildly different? Let's say they are like in this ideal world, like this is like they're passionate about this, and this is like they think this could be great, and this is like a new direction for them. I think it can be, but I think what we've seen with like, take for example, even slight transitions, like there was some resistance with what IO was doing with 007 when it was not full stealth and more like action packed. Even with what 007 is, people knew IO is like, you're the stealth guys, like you're not doing stealth. And it makes you wonder how studios feel. It's like, oh, if you're making an RPG, if you dare to make like a shooter, does that sort of like pigeonhole you completely? Like you dare make a shooter? Like if Larian came out and said like, hey, we're working on our next RPG, but in the year that we just released Baldur's Gate 3, we actually made a quick first person shooter and we thought you like it. Like, is that acceptable? I think this game just doesn't look great to a lot of people, but it's strange. It's definitely a jump scare, but it makes me wonder about those types of things.
Yeah.
How long is the leash from the fans?
Yeah.
What's next for Arrowhead? You might be asking. We have a job listing, quote, join our quest in making the world's best co-op action games. We're looking for a talented senior systems designer to join our growing design department and help shake the foundation of a brand new, unannounced project. This is your chance to be part of a co-op action game from the start. You'll be at the heart of building and tuning the core systems, progression loops, and combat feel like an Arrowhead game, end quote. So that doesn't read to me actually like Helldivers 3, which I imagine is obviously going to happen at some point. This reads like a new thing. And they did say their new thing would be fully funded by themselves and that it's likely going to come to Xbox, which is good to know. But this reads to me, Cog, like a completely new game, and I'm very excited to see what they do with all that newfound cash they've got. Right, they got the Helldivers money, and we saw the sales.
Yes.
Yeah, top 10 this month. It was just behind Silent Hill F, which we know sold over 1 million copies. So we know Helldivers 2, just in this last month alone, has sold over another 1 million copies. So they're making lots of dough over there at Arrowhead. So whatever they're spending it on next, I'm optimistic about, because they should have the budget to hire on some pretty serious talent and really expand their dream projects.
Oh yeah. No, that's great. And to your point, obviously this next project definitely seems like, multi-plat. We know the story of them wanting to kind of expand out. And we know the story of Sony doing flirting, right? And putting Helldivers over there. And now with the early numbers, right, it goes to show you that the bet paid off, because another key detail with the Circana report with as far as Helldivers was like number 6 or whatever and thing over Silent Hill F, that we do have that data. The other key point people forget, Helldivers came out towards the end of that month. You know what I'm saying? So again, it's impressive stuff. You know what I'm saying? I'm excited for Arrowhead. They're taking a bet on themselves. See what the new IP does, and then they continue to support Helldivers. Hopefully they have 2 projects now that are rocking and rolling. So I'm very curious to see. I love co-op games, and they seem to do them pretty well. So I'm pretty excited to see what they got cooking.
Right on. Next one is just absolute pleasant news. We have sales updates for both Silent Hill 2 Remake and the entire series. Silent Hill 2 Remake has shipped 2.5 million copies, digital sales as well included. So that's doing extremely well. Obviously, we just learned Silent Hill F surpassed 1 million units very quickly. So yeah, this is a series that's just on the uptick. 10 million copies in total shipped across the whole series. So most of them have come in the last, like a third of them have come in the last year, which is a great sign of where this franchise is at. And they've definitely been investing heavily. I mean, if what we're going to get out of Silent Hill is what we got with Silent Hill 2 Remake and F, not only is the series in excellent hands, but I'll even go as far as to say I think it can just challenge the throne. Like, I think if they just keep plugging away, I think it will grow tremendously. I think these games are too good to be denied. If this is the rate they're at, they're too thought provoking. By the way, shout out to our man Gene Park.
Oh yeah,
what a fucking review for Silent Hill. Got a therapist involved.
Therapist on it.
Come
on. Fire. Got
her to play the game twice. Like, dude, Gene's on a whole other level. We know that, but like, just shout out to him. Please check it out if you have yet to. I mean, just like, that's the level of Colin said it perfectly. Like, Gene is on a whole other level to his approach. And it's almost laughable compared to the industry. Like that's a level of thinking that was, I just found so inspiring. I was like, that's next level shit. Like, I need to think on that level. Like, that was really good. So shout out to Gene. But Silent Hill is that type of series that digs into your brain on that level. And I'm not too surprised Gene went that route, because when he told me he like beat it 4 times that quickly, I was like, yeah, it's that type of game. Yeah, it's that type of game. Cog, your thoughts on the roaring sales of Silent Hill?
Love to see it, man. I got too much to add. I've been there from the very beginning with those guys. I remember it was the foggy little game from back in the day. And I'm like, this game is trippy. It's scaring the hell out of me. Like, the game, it's the first game to make me uncomfortable throughout. You know what I'm saying? And it didn't necessarily rely on jump scares. It was mood. It was atmosphere. It was dark. And I was trying to figure out what the hell's going on. And I couldn't put the controller down. And to see F and everything, I got to get to F at one point. It's just so many games. I love the vibe of F. You know what I'm saying? You know how I like, everything you guys are telling me, it sounds amazing. I know I'm going to love it. And then I remember I'm a huge fan of kind of like Japanese horror and stuff like that. So they got a little bit of that elements, and then the protagonist looks cool. I can't wait to kind of jump into that. So, yeah.
Silent Hill F is excellent. Excellent video game. Absolutely love it.
Yes.
We end with some Nintendo news. I just thought this was funny. You want to talk about keeping what this is. They are trying to keep Masahiro Sakurai employed and happy with this game, because I know after this, bro, get your ass in the Switch 2 Smash Bros sweatshop and get to fucking work. He is milking this thing for all it's worth. Okay. Kirby Air Riders. We know this is coming out later this year. This man already got a 45-minute direct on the game, which is longer than almost all Nintendo games ever get. I think Donkey Kong Bonanza got like an 18-minute one or something. Like they all get such short ones. This man not only pulled out a 45-minute direct, he got a 60-minute direct after that. Unbelievable. And so I feel like I have to check this out just to be like, what could you have to say for this long about these games? So yeah, that's happening. That's happening tomorrow as we record this. This will already have happened by the time y'all listen to this. So you can check it out. But I just thought it was amazing. This man is 100% getting the royal treatment, right? Like, hey, bro, thanks for Smash Ultimate. It's still selling millions of copies. You do this. Just remember where you're going back to after this. Once it's all done, fun time is ticking. It's almost up. So I got a good kick out of this, Cog. Your thoughts on Kirby Air Riders getting another direct?
You mean to tell me, I just want to be clear. This man they're going to do a 45-minute, they're going to do a 60-minute direct on just this game?
Yes.
Wow. Wow. Like I said, like this right here, I mean, it's clearly not for me, but what do you got to talk about in 60 minutes, though? Like 60
minutes? He already did it for 45. That's the thing, bro. He already did 45. This should be by all accounts, this should be like Nintendo's biggest game. With how much crazy I'm talking about.
All the crap I'm talking, they ain't gonna matter. This thing gonna sell like hotcakes.
You think? I don't know. Like I haven't seen any buzz.
60 minutes, bro. They're baking a lot into this. Like you told me, Bonanza didn't even get what was it, 18, 20? And that's one of their big games of the year. So yeah, they going hard for this. Like this is wild to me.
2.2
I will not be tuning in.
45-minute direct. Yeah,
that's wild.
Yeah.
I'm just curious. What? Like I'm assuming that there's some form of a, not a hardware, a peripheral, or like you've got to have other things than just sit there and break this down for 60 minutes. Is that deep? Isn't this? What is it? A racing game? What is Air Ride? Isn't it Mario Kart? Smash?
No, he actually said I think it's a quote in this article.
Educate me on this.
Quote. You might be asking yourself if it's basically Mario Kart, Sakurai said. You race and battle with familiar characters around courses with different features, or so they say. Okay, so it basically is like Mario Kart. I even mentioned this when I received the request to make the game. I asked them if they still wanted to do it. But as fans of the original know, the appeal of the game is not actually the races. And that's the end of the quote there. So I've not played Kirby Air Ride, the one that was on GameCube. I have friends who love playing it though. They always play it on like whatever that screen sharing program is, Parsec.
Right.
But yeah, I just thought this was insane.
The first one in the genre was racing.
Yes.
So we doing
Sakurai is basically sitting there going like, it's basically Mario Kart.
Basically, yeah. God bless. Tune me in on what happens, because I am not watching that.
You don't got an hour to spare, Cog?
Nah, man. That's the dude that be sucking things, right? That's the thing that be sucking everybody off. I'm good on that character. It's too much for me, man. Look, I went to the Pokemon Cafe. Y'all got to give me a pass. I should be allowed to slander for a little bit now.
You're not interested in the throat coat. I get it.
Yeah, that's the original throat coat.
It really is. All right. Let's get into the big news, and then we'll wrap this one up, Cog. Sarah Bond has clarified some next-gen details and as well spoke a bit about the Xbox Ally. We'll round it out with that. For starters, when speaking with Mashable in an interview, she said, quote, the next generation console will be a very premium and high-end curated experience. You're starting to see some of the thinking we have in this handheld, referring to the Xbox Ally, but I don't want to give it all away, end quote. Meanwhile, she was talking to Variety about the next console, and she said, quote, we are looking 100% at making things in the future. We have our next-gen hardware in development. We've been looking at prototyping, designing. We have a partnership we've announced with AMD around it, so that is coming. What we saw here was an opportunity to innovate in a new way and bring gamers another choice, in addition to our next-gen hardware. We are always listening to what players and creators want. When there is demand for innovation, we're going to build it, end quote. Then she spoke to the Variety about the Xbox Ally and subsequently threw Asus under the bus for the pricing of it. Quote, we looked at how do we create multiple options for people? And it was really Asus, because this is their hardware. That is all of their insight into the market, into the feature set, into what people want to determine the ultimate prices of the device. She then spoke about the launch despite this price tag. Quote, "The reaction was overwhelming demand for the device. We sold out on the Xbox store. We sold really quickly at a number of other places around the world. I feel really good about the value that we're giving gamers for the price based off the reception of the hardware," end quote. Cog, what do you make of the Queen's comments?
The Queen is outside talking a lot. All right, let's start with the first joint. Like I predicted, very premium new console, next generation console, high-end curated experience. That just screams to me that we are staying in this pocket of we ain't subsidizing for the most part. You gonna pay. So that's what that tells me. Look, as a person who is very happy that they are making a next generation console, because I will admit that was my fear. The third party push was extreme, and that the reason was they want to kind of, disconnect themselves from hardware immediately. So on one side of it, I am happy, that announcement seems to be now confirmed. And now the other side, look, it's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. This is going to be a very high end niche product. I don't expect a bunch of sales. The only thing that gives me a little hope is now the next statement, because the next statement now, where the Ally Asus gets kind of thrown under the bus as far as, oh no, that's their hardware. They set the pricing. We had nothing to do with that. But so now you're treating that like that's an OEM device, which is fine. It's not, that is what we assumed it was. You're saying it's an Xbox, but really it's not your dedicated own handheld that's going to have the console sensibilities that the hardcore console guy would want, right? It's going to be this mishmash of the, operating systems and, storefronts. And this is the first step to the vision. Now, I get the concerns from people like, yo, bro, see, the Ally, you know what I'm saying? Look, it got a couple issues. It's coming in like it's a beta test on certain things with the UI. That is fair. I won't push back. What I will say, though, that is not a dedicated Xbox device. Like there's no third party involved. Like it's just them where you get the console. So what I do look at this, and I've said this before, this is the transitionary step to flirt with how do we do operating systems on one device, right? This is the learnings to get. That's how I look at the Ally. Now, and obviously they said they're going to iterate, they're going to do more updates and so on and so forth, and it's going to streamline. This is what they're doing to set up the next joint, which the thought process is it's not going to be an Asus device. It's going to be a dedicated Xbox branded device that will have multiple storefronts. But they got to handle that part. Cool. I think nobody's going to care about the multiple storefronts as long as the Xbox dedicated console experience is just what we have now, and everything else is added on. No one will care. Now, as far as this next part, right? So she's saying, obviously they're prototyping and doing all this stuff. As far as the price and stuff like that, I will back off. I still think it's going to be a high-end device. I will say they gave me a little hope on subsidization only because of the fact that they threw Asus under the bus. So that tells me that there's a part of me that, okay, that's a high-end price. That's ridiculous. Will there be some subsidization? I think it's going to be with an asterisk. This is my new prediction. New prediction is now because you got to parse through the corporate speak. The Queen, you ain't slick. I see what the Queen trying to do. I'm getting through it now. I do think there is going to be that $1,000 plus mainline Xbox Project Magnus. It eats babies. It does this. It's 75 Zen, RDNA 7. They're going to come out with the buzzwords. And they're going to have one thing, they're going to have the graphic of the chip, and it's going to be singing and dancing. We know what that's going to do, right? I think that will be like the $1,000 jump. But I do think they are going to multi-skew us on some level. And because think about this, even with the Ally, if that is a learning, there still is the $600 joint, $500. You know what I'm saying? So I think they'll come in with the second skew. Like, this is for the high-end Xbox guy.
Yeah.
This is, you want the most powerful, blah, blah, blah. And then they'll have their Series S equivalent. I think they will probably take the learnings from the S, which is, okay, maybe we can't cheap out on the memory And so we don't give the developers too much of a hard time, you know what I'm saying, kind of thing. And we do our sacrifices elsewhere. And I think that's how they get over the sticker shock from everyone saying, oh, nah, bro, 1,000, 1,100, like, bro, you know what I'm saying? That's what I think they're going to do. And maybe the subsidization.
This new handheld basically has to be like sick, right? That's like the idea. Or do you expect it like a third SKU? Like you expected like mega console, mini console, handheld?
I'm going to be real though. At first I said no because I still think, at first I said no because they're scared of SteamOS and they need more time for the handheld. But listen, Jez done put something out recently. I think on Xbox 2 last week. Shout out to Jez and Rand. Mm-hmm. And I listened, and he was animate now. Oh no, they're definitely still doing the handheld. Now he wasn't animate on the time frame, right? Mm-hmm. So my prediction now is dual SKU, a Magnus X, a Magnus S, right? Magnus S, that'll be to try to get the common guy in, right? He won't have every bell and whistle of the X, but he'll be at the reasonable price of what we used to. X will be for the high performant niche country club guy. You want to go all out. I think the handheld comes after, in the middle of the generation, which will allow them more time to truly. That's what the Ally has to do. The Ally has to learn and fix so that they can take the learning and fixes and be ready for their time.
Oh, man.
Say what you're going to say.
If true, man, that sucks to hear. Because
you wanted it from the beginning, like how PlayStation's doing it.
PlayStation seems to have the right idea, but also like now it's more like just, okay, from like the analyst point of view, now I'm worried of like, what chance in hell does this handheld have now? Like you're coming out after PlayStation's got one, the Switch 2 is established. PC handhelds are established. You're giving room now for the Steam Deck 2 to show up.
That's a good point. I mean, they're in a tough spot because they just launched this device and they're going to support this device. They have to learn from this device. I know you're not a fan of it. I know a lot of people got issue with it, but they've got to do it right. You can't just rush to market and get creamed. You can't get smashed out of there because you still got to remember Steam Deck 2 coming.
Yeah.
So you can't come before that. Your operating system is trash. You don't got no learners. You can't compete with them. And they're going to have the OS on and then the only thing I give you, which sucks for them, is me and you both said it behooved them to come out at least before PlayStation with the handheld. So I think, PlayStation's they're going to be out.
Because I mean, compared to it's funny because like with the Steam Deck, like the original Steam Deck had its issues at launch. It was still very exciting, but like the Steam Deck OLED cleaned that shit up quick. It was so nice, right?
Yeah. But really, did the Steam Deck have issues at launch, Matty? It was clean, that UI.
I think for the most part. It's like I think it's more on like the little things, like the fan, how loud they were, how certain games ran, the battery life. Like you could feel sort of the of the device, but now.
Overall, not to cut you, their first experience with Steam Deck blows away Ally's first experience from a user-friendly. You know what I'm saying? But whose first attempt was better is what I'm basically trying to get at.
No, 100% it was Steam Deck. But I guess I'm just trying to, like look at it like, man, I get it. They do need to study it, but it's just like that's handheld feels set up for, not failure would be the right word, but just feels like it's set up to just underperform if it's good anyway, because everyone will have an option and then refreshed options of the thing they're already invested in. Right.
No, that's a good point. And it's a tough thing. It's like, do you come out there to be first to market, but you have an Ally situation 2.0 where Matty got the face again. I don't want the thumbnail face. I was
just looking at it. Come on.
And you're going to have the face again and you're going to be with the device. So. I don't want to see that. I'd rather you wait. Look, I don't want to wait. I would love that it would have been out ready to go. They're not ready, bro. They not. The Ally proved them, even though that is Asus and it's a joint venture, OEM, I get it. It's not dedicated, but it shows they're not ready for prime time in that space yet. Sure. They got to learn, especially when it comes to a non-Linux device. Windows is the issue. Yeah. So take your time, do what you got to do. Listen, I'm just happy. Even though the handheld would not be ready, I'm happy they're going to have a console, bro.
That's true.
Like, bro, think about where we just came from. We 2 weeks removed from the show is over. What we doing about defining Duke? Let's take our wins where we can. Like, we got at least another. If a generation is what 5 to 6 years, like at least we together for 5, 6 more joints, bro.
That's all that matters.
Look at our blessings.
That's all that matters. You're right.
We can complain about the handheld all the way through, but at least we'll have some hardware to talk about and play on in the meantime.
That's true. Yeah, I share a lot of the thoughts that you had there. So I guess I'll keep mine brief. Like the whole, it's premium, it's high end, it's curated, exactly as you said. This shit's going to be expensive. They're going to ask you to splash for it. I just hope I think that's totally fine if there's something to offset it. Like, and because I think what's happened is like the Series X and S, right? They were still pretty close in price to be competitive, where you could kind of do one or the other. But I feel like the approach now is like hardware is so expensive nowadays. Like, here's your $1,200 option. Here's your $600 option. Like, yeah, the gap is huge, but you'll never have like frame rate issues ever. Have fun. Mm-hmm. Not that's idealistic of me to say, by the way, but you get my idea of like, here's the thing that'll present less issues for you, hopefully. So I think they're at that point. At the same time, I'm right there. You and I had the same thought. Like, when I saw what she said about Asus, I'm like, you're pointing at them for the price tag. Does that mean you guys would have handled it differently? I mean, as much as we talk shit about Xbox leadership, they know you got to be somewhat competitive in the hardware market. They know that maybe the days of subsidizing are over, but they know like, hey, we can't just put this thing completely 10,000% out of reach. Give me that face, Cog. You got your own face.
No, I'm laughing. No, you're right. I'm just laughing about something. Because I was thinking about the devil's excuse. No, you didn't do nothing. I'm just laughing about, the thought process of like, yeah, you know what, we gotta be competitive. And then there's a part of me that's like, no, he's right. But then there's another part that's like, do they even care about that anymore?
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that was the laugh. That was the sticker. Not that you're wrong, because I do think they gotta be.
What did I say wrong? I'm a scarred fucking boyfriend at this point.
He said I'm scarred. You good.
So yeah, for me, it's like, okay, are you putting Asus under the bus? Because like low key, you guys would have been like 800, 850. Remember, that was like the rumor, like 800, 850. Like, would they have ate like a couple, like 100 or something off of it? So does that mean for your next console, like, hey, we can get it below 1,000, and like that $999 will look a lot better than like $1,199? Like maybe they do that. I'm like many of us out there, I think Cog included, like we're not really holding our breath, because there's been just as much evidence on the other side of like, well, they're probably going to charge us an arm and a leg for this thing. But I just hope wherever the offset is, I just hope there is an alternative that competes directly with consoles, right? As in like
traditional,
if you have your premium option and that's like the creme de la creme, and it offers the same ecosystem experience that this smaller version does, I would probably leap for that. It's now in the Xbox ecosystem, best performance in the market, best power, great, and you guys can actually back it up now. But if you have just that, like we kind of talked about, like the original idea was like handheld at launch, and that's your offset. That's like your $400, $500, $600 object that goes against like the PlayStation's market price of a console. And by the way, I just want to throw out there, so I was reading some of the comments on our latest episode. A lot of people, and I was talking to Colin about it too, thought I was like I said I was being optimistic when I said like 850 for the next PlayStation, and people were like, whoa, you're really pessimistic. They're like, people think I'm way fucking overshooting it. I'm like, really? Like I'm being sincere when I said really. Like I'm like, really? Like people think this thing's going to be like that much cheaper?
I mean, look, I'm hold on a second. Sorry.
Here they come.
Here they come. They just throw the flag on the plane. It's over. Look, you could be onto something as well with that too, because look, I know the thing right now is, Xbox is raising prices, but we did just come off of a $700 PS5 Pro. The only reason why I got it was because it was a GameStop hustle deals that I was able to trade in and get my joint for $300. But we're not removed from that, and we're still in the economic climate of these tariffs and what's going on. And now with the rumors, did you see Microsoft now thinking about taking their manufacturing out of China? That's on the docket. I'm sorry, obviously that's the next topic.
No, you're good.
But so it's just like we're not out of the thick of this from everybody.
Yeah.
So I don't think you're far off to be like, yo, I probably going to set aside like 8 just in case, because that could be the new, the new normal kind of thing. So yeah, I'm not completely writing this off. We are in this weird timeline because of the political climate, because of the tariffs, because of everything that's going on. Companies are going to have to adapt, and they don't want to take those hits. They're going to put it on the consumer. Yeah. So yeah, that's what we got to see.
Yeah, I do think PlayStation has to walk a little more carefully than someone like Nintendo. Like Nintendo eating the cost in the face of the tariffs makes a lot of sense. Like Nintendo knows where their money's made. They are a games business through and through. PlayStation is the dominant part of the Sony business, and so they're going to eat cost more than most would. But I think they still want to be careful with how much they eat, because they still need to. They don't make money on the console, but they need to keep it somewhat competitive for themselves and not losing a shit ton. Like, what's the standard attachment rate for these consoles? Like, how many copies are going to be sold on someone who's going to buy this thing? It's all about the software, right? So I was interested. I mean, I don't think anyone fully knows at this point. I think we can all make guesses for why it would be very expensive. That's an easy one to do, but cheaper than like $850, I'm not there yet. Like, I feel, I feel PlayStation will hit. Some people might be in for sticker shock then. Because again, with the PS5 Pro, I'm like $100 more than that. I mean, that's how I'm thinking about it. And that's me I thought being generous, but it was an interesting conversation. People were nice about it, but like, it was just interesting to see people be like, whoa, you're really pessimistic. I was like, damn, really? So we'll see. I mean, Xbox has trained me to expect a premium price tag, the premium high-end curated experience.
Yeah, that just screamed country club talk.
Yeah, what do you think about Xbox trying to move their kind of marketing speak into that? Like, we're giving you the high end experience, right? Like, Game Pass is suddenly going to be a nice old bottle of wine. They're like, oh, you can only get this here. Like, it's starting to feel a little bit like that with some of the marketing.
Oh yeah. Oh, you want a game? You want to still do this? Mm-hmm. This is a luxury hobby. Mm-hmm. We're a luxury brand. That's the vibe I'm getting. Like, look, I know. Look, this is. I want to shout out to my boy RK, along that, and obviously LSM fam, and I'm not putting his business on, but a lot of people, we're going through it financially, and stuff is expensive.
Yeah,
it's expensive. So I feel for people who love this hobby and now, are legitimately going to be priced out. And like, yeah, I can't do that at launch. I might have to wait 2 years in. I might have to wait. That's going to be a lot of people, and they're not going to have this mass, market effect if these prices remain. I think they'll get their money because there'll probably be less people, but more people buying at this higher price, including the games and stuff. So maybe that offsets it. And then in conjunction with the fact that, like, at least in Xbox's case, they're putting in games everywhere. So they're like, okay, cool. You don't have to buy 1 million of these things. Cool, like you used to do. You got to get the game over. This is their soft transition to biggest third-party publisher, software company. It's what they do. So, and that's where they make their money. But yeah, this is going to be a new day for consoles in that respect. That not dying, not dead, but definitely different.
Definitely different. And this next one's a quick one, Cog. We already briefly talked about it. According to a report by Nikkei Asia, Xbox has plans to move its product manufacturing out of China throughout 2026. This comes after the Series X console saw a price bump to $650, which is $150 more than its launch price. It's also begun to impact developers as Xbox is increasing the prices of their game development kits, as The Verge has reported the price is moving from $1,500 to $2,000 per kit. Again, the reason has been stated it's due to macroeconomic developments. Cog, I never had a chance to look at those links you provided me of some people responding to Tom Warren's story about this, but I know when we were talking about it between us, I was like, I don't think this is actually as big a deal as people are making it out to be. But I don't know if there was more context that I need to add before we continue.
No. You pretty much nailed it. I mean, the vibe at first, look, just like anybody else, in terms of the dev, let's start with the dev kit part first, in the sense that, at first I was like, well, what is going on? You know what I'm saying? Like, I've never heard of dev kits, going up. Is this something exclusive to them? And, that kind of thing. And then, I did some digging around, and I did find that it was kind of a bit about nothing, but not as egregious as I thought it was going to be, because the way it was explained to me was like Xbox, let me get the exact quote as far as what's going on. So yeah, pretty much the way it's explained to me. Shout out to my man Valley Carr, Delta Gaming. He works in finances and NBA stuff, and he knows what's going on in the industry. pretty much he was just kind of like, the ID at Xbox is still claiming to deliver a free dev kit for the approved account. Devs who don't need the processing overhead can turn their Xbox Series console into a dev kit, obviously. And then the Microsoft GDK is available free of charge on GitHub. Only if a developer wants to publish do they need to apply for a developer account, can build with the GDK as long as they want. So you got that aspect. They also, I was told to be like, mostly all the major developers have the what you call dev kits already. And then obviously the ID Xbox part, you get offered to, free as well. Like, because I guess my concern was like, yo, the new guy, right? He's coming in, he's a new developer. He gonna have to, pay kind of stuff like that. And from my understanding, ID at Xbox, they do provide that. So the vibe, I was told like, this is really a bit about nothing. And I was like, really? I was actually surprised because I was ready to go in on him. I'm like, yo, what's going on kind of thing. So that was the energy I got sourced from a couple of people just to provide some additional nuance to it. They're not saying that Tom Warren's reporting is wrong. It is correct that it is going up, but it's not. People were kind of like, it's kind of a nothing burger based on the conditions that Xbox has already set that allows the developers to have the kits, be able to access it, and then turn into it. So that's what I was told right now from multiple sources. So I can run with this one.
Yeah. Like I said, when we were originally talking, it seemed like a bit about kind of like, I was like, I don't think this is a big difference maker, even if this was just like worst case scenario, like it's 500 more per kit. I'm like, if you're in the business of selling video games, like, I know it's not just like dollars to cents. That's how it translates. But like, this is not such an egregious hike that you're like, they can't make a game for Xbox now. Like, or we can't.
Right.
Like, it's just, again, it's kind of a nothing story. Like it's, I get it. It should be reported on, but it's nothing that I think people should look at and be like, what does this mean? It's like, I don't think it means much of anything personally.
Yeah. And again, just to be clear, here's the updated report from Mr. Homie Rally Dark Card Gaming. So again, what the report does not consider, as of today, the ID at Xbox program will deliver an Xbox Series dev kit free of charge. That's number one. Developers who do not need extra processing headroom can use their local Xbox Series console as a dev kit. Two, the GDK Game Developer Kit is free of charge on GitHub and officially supported by Microsoft. A developer could start on the GDK without even applying for ID at Xbox or spending any money up front. So just so we're clear, dev kits used to be absurdly expensive back in previous generations. So that was the extra clarity that kind of put things in perspective with the
There you go. Now with that in mind, Cog, we were just talking about consoles, prices.
Yes.
Obviously a lot of them built in China. Xbox was using product manufacturing out of China. A lot of places have been hit with tariffs, so it's like wherever they land, you're imagining they're a place that they've picked that's strategically going to be advantageous to them, where it's like, hey, we won't suddenly get hit with like surprise tariffs and like with no one wants to have the situation Nintendo was in with the Switch 2 where they like had to hold and they're like, are they going to delay it? Are they not going to delay it? Like what's going to happen with product manufacturing? Right? So they want to make sure that there is a smooth launcher because the last thing that a company needs, especially like Xbox, who has already had like console issues, is like, oh, we're going to launch in November of 2027. And it's like, actually, we have to delay it now. We'll see you in 27. Like that would just kill them right out the gate. Right. So they want to avoid that. What do you make of moving the product manufacturing out of China? I know it's a little more like real world conversation here, but obviously trying to cut costs. Does this make you a little more optimistic's not the right word, but does this kind of add to your reasoning of like, is there a chance in hell that they subsidize this next console a little bit more?
Slight chance. Again, it depends on how efficient and quickly that could be done, how realistic that is could be, to get these things developed potentially in the States. And again, if I had to guess, not that I'm some political expert, this is in combat of what is going on with the tariffs, as well as, let's be honest, probably the current administration ideally would want them to do this because I think this is part of the thinking, which is like, stop manufacturing over there and manufacture with us, put pressure and let this, trade/tariff war between the United States and China continue, and then put pressure by saying, hey, we don't need you. Our stuff could be done homegrown. So I think there's a lot of posturing right now. But for video game makers like the Xboxes, PlayStation, stuff like that, these things are now going to be considered because I think what's happening is currently right now, this is really affecting the business. Yeah. And people are like, whoa, we got a next generation to worry about.
Yeah.
We've got to do something that we got to do about fast. So now that we got, a potential, 2 to 3 years before this thing come out, how quickly can we spin up something local? You know what I mean? I think these are the discussions that are happening. I don't know how this is going to play out, but it's so volatile and it's really affected these companies. Look, when I was over there in Japan, let me tell you how crazy it was real quick. Like there's 2 Switch models. Mm-hmm. There's the homegrown joint, which is cheaper than what we play for ours, right? Then there's the international Switches, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's what the one we, kind of, and like that one is, you got like have a raffle to get it. And it's, it's priced high. It's a thing. And this is all where this tariff stuff and all this stuff kind of plays in. So yeah, the companies, the big 3 are serious about how they're going to handle. They don't want to get surprised anymore. Yeah. So that's what I think kind of is going on here. But what do you think?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think it's as simple as like trying to get your entry level as low as possible because, especially if you're Xbox and you're going to stick around with hardware, like, and you're a primarily software company, like you need to get as many people into your games as possible or into your subscription service as possible. And so right now, like Game Pass is only on Xbox and PC, right? And obviously like other PC adjacent devices. So it's like you need to make sure this console is somewhat affordable if you can avoid. I mean, again, it's going to be expensive no matter what. People should be prepared for that. But can you eat 100 here or 50 here, whatever it may total out to be at the end? I don't know. But can you do that to like keep this thing as low as possible so that it's competitive when it hits the market? Because that's all I want Xbox to do is just be competitive. Like I expect this to be more expensive than everything else. But if it's like a $250 difference, but I'm getting noticeably better specs and performance and services on your platform, that would be worth it for a lot of people. Because this has been a generation of headaches. So I'm keen to see if this does result in what we're hoping for. A lot of it is optimistic thinking, I'll be honest. Xbox has shown me that they're here to make top dollar right now. And Sarah Bond already saying it's going to be premium and high-end, curated, like all these, as Cog said perfectly, country club terminology, right? So it's like, I'm not really holding my breath, but there are moves where it's like, are they moving to get things cheaper so that they can make more profit on the console? There's also that. It's like, well, yeah, if we move out and it actually costs us $500 to make it, and then we sell over $1,200. Come on, guys. Like, and that could be also conditions. Yeah. And then just tell them something fucking happened in the market.
Economics.
Yeah. So yeah, tell them about the macaroni and cheese conditions and just be like, there you go. There you go. We charged you $700 more than we could have. Why not? So yeah, I don't want to get too optimistic with it, but I think if they're trying to stay competitive like a PlayStation or a Nintendo, which I know their eyes are set elsewhere, but I think they still need to consider how many tens of millions of people are invested in their ecosystem, that they kind of need to service those people as well, that they need to try to be competitive, and maybe this is a step in that direction. We'll see. But maybe it's also just like, hey, we have the price set. We don't want that going up throughout the generation. We want it going down.
Yeah, good call out. I didn't even think about that. Good call out. Yep.
And so,
which was the opposite of this generation, which really hurt consoles. Yeah. And I just saw the report from Piscatella and Cicada about the hardware losses from both PlayStation and Xbox still continue. Only Nintendo is helping to offset it right now.
Yeah.
As far as hardware, and the revenue being made.
Makes sense.
Now.
Yeah. So that's what's going on in the world of gaming this week. It's time for us to wrap up. We need to get guests out of here. We're having these long ass shows.
This is like us now.
Yeah, we're talking 4+ hours per week. Woo! We're not sacred built like that, but we hope you've been enjoying this stretch, ladies and gentlemen. It's been a good time. I know I've no doubt, Cog, you're probably starving, ready to go get a stretch in. So let's wrap it up here. Sir, what's our hashtag? What are we thinking for this week? I feel like we got to put some Outer Worlds 2 respect.
Oh, you already know. Yeah. You using my mindset. Yeah. However you want to do it. Let you call it.
What do we give it to? I'm trying to think of something that like we can relate to on Outer Worlds. Mm-hmm. We did Outer DD at some point. I know.
We did. I feel we've done Outer
that had to be like
before.
June. That had to be June.
Yeah.
Ah, man. Oh, you know what we should do? Outer Worlds with 2Ds.
Outer Worlds with 2Ds.
Yeah, like.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah, at the end of Worlds, 2Ds, 2 lowercase Ds.
All right. Okay, I got you.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. Let's get a little cheeky with it. So,
all right,
ladies and gentlemen, let us know your thoughts on the episode. I'm at G27status on Twitter. Cog is at Lord Cognito. Use the hashtag Outer Worlds. Include that second D, damn it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, We appreciate you. We hope you enjoyed. Patreon.com/laststandmedia for all things from write-ins to early ad-free access to our show. Otherwise, we'll be back next week to talk more video games with y'all. So we'll catch you then. We'll definitely be talking about what I imagine is going to be that Halo news. So we'll see. But ladies and gentlemen, until then, take great care of yourselves and peace out.
Defining Duke, an Xbox podcast, is a product and trademark of Last Stand Media and Colin's Last Stand LLC, and is recorded from the United States of America. The show is conceived by Matthew Mr. Matty Plays Schroeder and me, Colin Moriarty, and is written and produced by Matthew Schroeder. Matty's co-host is Barry Lord Cognito Eversley. Defining Duke's executive producer is Dustin Furman. All of Last Stand's theme music is by Ramon Narvaez. As you know, all of Last Stand Media's shows, including Defining Duke, are fan-funded on Patreon at patreon.com/laststandmedia. The following names are at the producer support level on Patreon, and we're thankful for your kindness and generosity.